I mean, this is a sport that's on the precipice of irrelevance.
The games are taking over 3.5 hours. Playoff games are taking over 4 hours.
Game's too long, too slow. Who cares?
This is a situation where baseball's in trouble to begin with.
I hate to break it to you, baseball's dead.
Baseball is dead.
Vote Nick Kurtz.
That's like Dallas's new intro is what you see when he's on chat roulette. that's the angle he goes with. Welcome to the show. Wow. It's another Thursday, and expectations are really high today because Justin Havens has brought in a special guest for Family Feud Thursday, and his words, not mine. He's like, well, this person's not that special at all, really. So, I think that for me, I don't want to know who it is. I want this person to walk into the room and it's like, wow, here he is. This person has been on the show before, Jay.
Oh yes.
Do I have a relationship with this person?
I've got I've got a really good idea who this is.
No, I guess you could know. I would be surprised though if you thought
I don't want to guess
right away.
Really?
But yeah,
wait,
we all
have a chance I don't know who he is?
No. We all have a very good. I don't know what Tyler's relationship is with this person. Everybody who has been on this podcast for a long time has a very good relationship with this person. He's somebody that we have called, and he's somebody who has appeared. Yeah.
Stop. I'm gonna write it down right now.
That's fine.
So
I'm gonna write it down too. I'm gonna text it to T.
No,
so
let me see.
Why? He doesn't know how to read. It doesn't matter. It's like it's going into the ether. It's just a documentation.
Okay.
Here's who I think it is.
I've been working on the reading thing.
All right. I texted it to T, so it's documented and timestamped. I'm looking forward to it, just like I'm also looking forward to hopping on the Kalshi app. On Kalshi, you are trading against peers in a live market, meaning that there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the promo code BID to get $10 when you trade 10. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. The big story today is something that kind of got, I don't want to say lost in the shuffle, but it was a little bit of like a late night news dump. Like it was after the East Coast games were starting to wrap up, and Evan Drellick put out the story that we are getting rid of the clock at the home run derby. Yeah. That's not to say that we're going back to how things used to be. I mean, kind of, but not exactly. So here's how this is going to work, right? We are going back to the swing system, which growing up, it was you got 10 swings, you got 10 outs. Like that's how we used to play in the backyard. Dallas probably didn't have a backyard in the trailer park. You probably had to go to like a parking lot of some sort. But when we played in like we called it the backyard, we would have 10 swings, 10 outs, and that's how we played home run derby. That's how we watched it in Major League Baseball growing up. We're kind of going back to that, but not necessarily. The first round, you're going to get 20 swings.
20.
Because I think here's the number one thing. All right, RIP to a very fun time in Cleveland. I don't know if you remember this, Dallas Braden, but when we were in Cleveland for the high school home run derby and then the actual home run derby.
Vladdy.
I believe, was that the first year of the clock?
Yes.
So they didn't know the rules. The rules were you couldn't throw another pitch until the ball landed. That was so that you didn't kill anybody. They ignored that rule. So Vladdy would have a ball that was like rainbow lollipopping into the crowd, and then he would hit a fucking 118 mile an hour line drive into the crowd. So people were like, oh, I got it. Boom, like right in the fucking face. So it was exhilarating to be there and to see it. But watching at home, you're watching the home run derby being like, I don't want to watch it in a split screen because I want to watch the swing, but then the ball is also still in the air. The whole part of the home run derby that's cool, the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire home run derbies, was after he swings, I want to track it. I want to see how far the thing goes. I don't want to have to be like, oh, I'm going to miss the next swing because I'm watching how far that ball goes. And also, if you're a batter, I don't want to get penalized if my BP thrower sucks. Like, why should, like, that's what happened, by the way, at the Dinger Derby that we did 2 years ago. The motherfucker that was throwing the home run derby threw me 3 strikes the whole time. He's pumping strikes to his buddy Connor. I see fucking 4 strikes and put them all on the moon. But like, I'm getting high and tight. I'm getting low and away. I'm getting breaking up and in. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Me too.
So now, if it's a swing system instead of a time system, now it's up to you. You just got to swing. Swings and out, and you're not penalized if the BP pitcher sucks. T, I see you have some sort of opinion that's gonna, I guess, go against what I just said.
No. I was just talking back to Texas when we did all of this. I threw BP to you and it went excellent. You started going deep off of me a bunch of times. Now I was battling the flu, some sort of a back hamstring issue, kind of everything
back
intercostal.
Back hamstring,
It all
body,
connects.
leg, arm, head.
Yeah.
I was battling through a lot of conditions.
The lat.
But it was bad.
It was like
But
a lat oblique trap situation.
J-Hay, by the way, is still warming up as we
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. I like it. Oh, the second round and the third round, you get 15 swings. So it's not like, all right, yeah, each round it's 10 swings, 10 outs, because then you have your Jason Bays and your Jazz Chisholms. Actually, that's embarrassing for Jazz Chisholm because it was timed. But like Jason Bay, I think, came out and hit 0 home runs for Canada when they did the country home run derby, I believe in 2006 or something like that.
That was tough.
That was tough. Yeah, tough for Canada. But yeah,
and
first
the
round you get
tiebreaker,
20 swings. Second and third, you get 15 swings.
And the first round tiebreaker, should you end up with 12 homers a pop, the first round tiebreaker goes to the longest home run. The second and third round tiebreaker, you get 3 swings. So it's essentially a swing off in a 3-swing body. You get
on the
3
last
swings.
pitch of each round, you can swing until you don't hit a home run.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Because think about the tear that Hamilton went on, right?
Yeah.
If you just continue to jack balls out of the fucking park, like you could.
Jose, clip that, please. Thank you.
I've blown this guy's horn since he showed up.
And jacking balls. So if you just continue to fucking smoke homers like that, then you could hit forever. I love that.
Yeah.
I do think when you look back, and maybe it's more shocking to me, but like in 2015, when you had like the Todd Frazier do it for the first time with the time, it felt like everyone fell in love with that format. They were so amazed by it because it was so much more efficient than some of the previous renditions. They were dragging. People were kind of getting bored of them over time because it felt like they were going as long as a regular baseball game.
And
so
that's
my
what I'm afraid
question,
of.
But that was happening. That was happening.
a ton. And people hated it.
Everybody keeps referencing the Josh Hamilton thing. That was 2008. Like there was 6-7 home run derbies after that before they changed the format. So like I get it. I don't have a hot take. I understand that the upside, a guy going on an epic tear is probably higher. I am curious to see whether the downtime or whether it feels like it's kind of moving in molasses at its worst is going to be.
I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see, and I guess you would only really know by talking to the guys who they've maybe already started to hint at participating in this, if moving away from the clock opens up the field to some guys who otherwise would be like, look, dude, I know how much stress we put on the body trying to hit homers, and now you're asking me to put those kind of swings together back to back to back in a time condensed space. Give me the freedom to take a big swing, rest and recover, take a big swing, rest and recover. And maybe I'm your guy. Maybe I can get on board with that. But if you're asking me to try to win a home run derby, which I would like to do if I'm going to participate, but I also am not trying to put the obliques on the chopping block here. Maybe I'm not your guy. But shit, no time frame. Sweet, let's rock.
But I think that's what you're pointing to, Dallas, is really the root of all of this, because they actually talk to the players. And if you're talking to the players here and you're trying to get their feel for what they desire, you hope that door starts to open up where you're getting the best of the best every single year. Now, do I think it's a different conversation when you actually have to mention going out that night, being ready during the only 5-day stretch you're going to get for 7 or 8 months, depending on how long your season goes. But I don't know, even if it's a every other year kind of thing where you want to see the difference and try some of those things out, I do think it's a big deal that they didn't lock this in beyond this year. I think that tells you how skeptical they are about the overall thing. The other part of it, the presentation, doing it with Netflix, what is that going to look like? Because I think that is also a major part of the home run derby, besides just the homers and all that. Because if you are going to have that dead time, you better have someone who can entertain and keep the convo going, or you start to get what you got the last couple years where they're in between the balls being in the air. They're not landing. They're still talking. You just don't want the communication mess that's existed for the last 3 or 4 years, especially.
I don't know if I'm sure we've talked about this to an extent, but I felt this way before, and I think it happened. The conversation might have picked up with Pete Alonso a little bit, but it's not a hot take. But I believe that the winner of the Derby should be granted a pass, or should be granted rights to then come and participate in the next year's home run derby. So
most of the guys don't want to, though. At that point, it's almost it's a box I want to check just to say that I did it, and then if you win it, it's like, yeah, give me that paycheck, and now stop asking me to do it. I did it, I won it, I put on a show for you guys. Now fuck off. I think less and less guys want to do it.
Okay, so let's say, and I don't know that there's a monetary attachment to it outside of, let's say you get $250,000. What's that?
It was $1 million last year.
Oh, yeah. So you win it, you got $1 million. Now you win it 2 years in a row, $2 million. You win it 3 years in a row, $3 million. Like, let's just keep upping the ante. So if you get the exemption like you do in the Masters, right? You win the Masters, you get to play for life. You get to participate. You get a crack at it. Okay. Well, think about winning the fucking Derby 3 years in a row. That's $1 million. That's $2 million. Boom. That's in 2 years, you've just made $3 million just hitting homers. And then the next year, the next year you win $3 million. Over a 3-year period, you've won $6 million taking BP.
Yeah.
Like that's a way that I think you could get maybe even some of the younger players, who would love to be involved in this. And now being asked to do this carries a little more cachet, or you might be just that much more excited about it, Like,
doesn't that hurt little Dallas inside, though? Like the fact that you need to be financially incentivized to participate in the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby, doesn't that?
It does. It
that's
does.
Like a dream.
But that's where this look. I mean, I think it's disingenuous for us to behave like we don't know that is a huge motivating factor. Considering, number one, the rookie contracts that exist today, right? What the minimum is, we're talking over $750,000 in terms of a minimum. I was making less than $350,000 as a rookie. That's we get it, and think about all the money in the game. So it's not like they can't afford to do this. Jay, what do you got?
I gotta ask a question. I got a contrarian take.
Uh-oh.
Are we sure the home run derby fields need that much help? Like, I'm okay with guys getting paid. We can pay them whatever they want. I don't give a shit. But
last year, you had what you wanted. Caminero, Cal
Raleigh was the story of the season. Junior Caminero, young star. James Wood was in the home run derby last year. He didn't advance past the first round, but he was in the home run derby. O'Neal Cruz, Byron Buxton, B. Rook. Are you kidding? Rook the Crook, Brent Rooker.
He got robbed.
Matty O, the platinum player. Yeah. Jazz Chisholm Jr. The year before, Bobby Witt Jr., Jose Ramirez, Pete Alonso, Gunnar Henderson. Year before that, Mookie Betts, Vlad Jr., Julio Rodriguez, Pete Alonso. Adley Rutschman doesn't sound great now. Was a pretty good get at the time. Looking back over the last handful of years, basically the majority of this timed era, I think the home run, I'm the first one to fucking bitch about almost anything. I don't think these fields have been, I think they've been good. I think they've done a good job getting players.
What stars have never participated that were like, man, we'd love to see that? Mike Trout?
Yeah, Trout. But even that, yes, that would have been nice. But I think their hit rate on I could compile, maybe I will. Maybe I'll compile the biggest stars over the last 5-10 years and what percentage of those stars they actually got to participate in a home run derby at least one time. I would be very confident that it is a very high percentage of those players.
But what Jay is referring to is the dunk contest fear. Like, it becomes like Mac McClung out there, and you're like, all right, we got a D-League player who is the face of it. It's like right now, the face of the home run derby is usually the most powerful young hitters, or maybe last year, the more prolific home run hitter we had in the sport. Like, so far, baseball hasn't got to that land yet, and I think that's why it's so much healthier. You know what? I just had this thought. Why do we not take, let's flash back to Blaze Jordan and the display he was putting on, okay? Now, guess what? You, young man, we'll see you here tomorrow night
against the big boys. Bring your stick. You are now a part of the big boy show. You get to play with the big boys. So you win that one, the amateur level. I mean, let's have fun with this. We've talked so much about trying to put the metal bats in the hands of the big leaguers. We can't do that because people will die. That being said, let's ask ourselves this too. Out of the list of all the folks who are in the All-Star running right now, who is the one name? Is there one consensus name? Take any position. Is there one name that you're like, I gotta have that person in the Derby? Like I gotta have them in the Derby.
Jordan.
Schwarber is like
he's been it. We've seen it. We've seen it.
But I
times.
want Schwarber in it. Like I enjoy seeing him in it.
But we've seen
So that's my point though. Is there? I don't know that there's really a consensus. Meaning,
no.
So everybody's going to have their opinion. I mean, it's
probably still Ohtani and Judge, right? Like if you ask a national panel, those two would still be the top answers. One of those is obviously not healthy, and the other one is, I'm probably not going to participate, but I would love to see Ohtani again personally do it.
Because he's not necessarily healthy either. Like he will take every opportunity to go, I'm going to rest the knee because
he's got blister now too.
Yeah.
But I mean, blisters from pitching,
but
not from swinging.
This year, if you were kind of looking for the new blood, it would have been Murakami, Ben Rice, even Colson Montgomery. Like, I think with what he's doing from a power display, it probably wouldn't get the name attention. But, like, if we're talking power stroke and prolific hitters right now, what he's doing in terms of sixth fastest player to get to 40 career home runs or whatever it is, like, those things, like, all right, I can follow that storyline and be into it beyond seeing, like, the biggest names of the names out there going and doing their thing. Can make an argument for, like, a Wilson Contreras, but who really... Are you dying to see that? Like, is that something that's feeding you? No. That's just looking at a home run leaderboard.
Who would make that argument, if I may ask?
Wilson Contreras hitting homers this year? Like, I think people could be into that.
Yeah, Nick Kurtz, we get it. You started off the pod with it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Dallas, we don't have to, Shea Bangaliers is also another candidate. Have you heard any back channel conversations about some A's that might be interested in participating?
Maybe.
Well, because I'm looking at the Kalshi odds right now for home run derby participants. I'll tell you who has the top. Let's just say that whoever the fans are forecasting on Kalshi right now, let's say that the top 8 actually make the derby. We're not going to see any A's. We're going to see the hometown kid, Kyle Schwarber, because it is in Philly. They're going to have to choose. I don't know that they're going to have to choose between Schwarber and Bryce Harper. I think it'd be cool if they both did it.
I mean, but now you're talking about a quarter of the field being Philadelphia Phillies, and that's...
Yeah, but are they unworthy?
No, not at all. Nope.
If the alternative is like Hunter Goodman, yes, then I want that. Like, if that's what we're weighing.
So here we go. Kyle Schwarber is at 85%. Yordan Alvarez is at 73%. Your boy Ben Rice, Benny Bombs.
Thank you.
Is at 63%. Also at 62% is Bryce Harper. At 58%, you have James Wood. Byron Buxton at 35, Junior Caminero returning to the Derby would be at 35, and then Bobby Witt Jr. would be at 33. Tied with him at 33 is Mike Trout, who is absolutely not going to do the home run derby.
No Jordan Walker?
No, he's at 24%. The outside field would be Shea Bangaliers at 30, Gunnar Henderson at 28, Matty, the Platinum Playa Olsen at 27, Jordan Walker at 24, Max Muncy at 21. And then that's when you get to the Miguel Vargases of the world.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would be
no Nick Kurtz,
which is bananas to me. Absolutely bananas to me. He's got the third, I believe it's the third highest OPS in baseball right now. I don't know how. Look, can somebody explain to me why? Why is Nick Kurtz overlooked to the extent that he is? Why?
I don't think he's overlooked. I think, I don't know, maybe Kalshi users just aren't familiar with this game. It's not like the Vegas odds, I'm sure, for home run derby participants would be vastly different than whatever Kalshi users are forecasting.
I can't for the life of me wrap my head around why the love is not there. It just
I mean, I was asking the same question back in spring training, and man, it was really disheartening to have the conversation with some of the local broadcasters who just said that, Nick Kurtz not worth your time. Shea Bangaliers, he's the guy. best player on the team. Nick Kurtz kind of sucks. And to be the
I think the local broadcaster was
the only supportive voice on this show for Nick Kurtz.
Whoa.
It was a lonely island to be on. It was a lonely island to be on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what happened. That's what happened.
I've been telling you all about Nick.
There is something about those young sluggers. Him and Ben Rice don't feel like they get the proper attention they deserve.
Well, Ben Rice sucks.
Okay.
Objectively.
1,000 OPS on the season.
1,000 OPS on the season.
Great comeback.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we do.
Yeah. At the end of the day,
he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get names that we're happy with this home run derby. I'm actually surprised we haven't had some guys. I mean, maybe it's a little too soon, but we're beyond, like we're less than a month away.
You got to get through the first round of voting, and that's when guys start to politic. Once you know what your odds really look like, once you know that you're gonna be there, like once the starters are, sort of penciled in, from there you got a pretty good idea of where you're gonna be in the voting, player vote, fan vote, blah blah blah. Like now you can start to make a push, and then you start to see other people make a push, and that's where you start to go, look, yeah, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to. That's when you get national media asking, hey, so have you thought about, they're going to be 3 weeks late to the party because everybody else is going to be like, yeah, no shit, we were talking about it a month ago. Oh, well, we wanted to make sure that, have an idea.
That is the part of it I think that fans don't truly understand is if I don't make the All-Star team, then that's vacation time for me. So I want to make the All-Star team because that's money in arbitration. That's a bonus in my contract that I just signed. But if I'm just going to the home run derby, I feel like I'm just kind of being used as a marketing tool for you at really no benefit to me. And I wouldn't blame any player who felt that way.
No, but
it's like, if you're gonna ask me to be in the derby, find a way to fucking get me the All-Star nod. I don't even have to play in the game. Just put All-Star on my resume. If I'm good enough to participate in the derby, I feel like, I'm hitting bombs. I should be an All-Star this year.
It's like Shang Tsung sending you the invitation to Mortal Kombat. Like, no, there's glory here waiting for you on the other side of this. Like, we could not ask you to come and try to win $1 million. We could do that too. But I mean, is that something that interests you? If you're a young player who's just going through arbitration, are you interested in doubling your salary this year? Are you interested in just having that opportunity?
If I'm Gunnar Henderson, for example, and I am not named to the All-Star team, but I'm asked to participate in the home run derby, and they're like, well, you could win $1 million if you win. It's like, cool, I'm going to make fucking $300 million eventually. So like, it's not my, that I would, if I'm Gunnar Henderson, I don't know why I'm using him as an example, but it is someone who's in line for a big payday. I'm probably valuing the 4 days of peace, relaxation, and recovery more than $1 million when I know that I'm about to make 300 times that at some point.
There is the angle, though, if it goes wrong and you have like your Jazz Chisholm kind of moment where people are going to meme the hell out of you for a night. And maybe it goes beyond that. I do wonder how many players think about it. But if you do go out there and you have one of those, and maybe it'll be a little bit different now with the swings versus how it felt with the time, but you go out there and just shit your pants in the first round and you hit 1 or 2 homers. I do feel like that leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you could be like, I'd rather just vibe for these 5 days than risk maybe a 10% chance of me embarrassing myself.
Like Mookie's performance in the derby wasn't great, but it's like, well, he's not a home run hitter. Jazz
and he
is
embraced
like, I'm
that,
a 50-50 player.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's
exactly.
He brought that on himself.
I just don't feel like, happy to be proven wrong, but I don't feel like we're going to give these guys money is a solution for anything other than the lowest earning class of Major League Baseball. Because like, I feel like MLB and the NBA has tried to financially incentivize the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend overall. And I would be very surprised if the NBA community disagreed with me when I said that that has been very lackluster, if not an outright flop overall, for improving the product and getting people excited about All-Star Weekend. So, yeah, if that incentivizes like a young prospect to come or a young player who's not earning money, but I feel like we're not having trouble attracting that player to the home run derby anyway.
And those guys are getting paid today. Today's game pays them.
Correct. And I think, Dallas, your heart's certainly in the idea of paying these guys is in the right place. I just don't know that ultimately is going to be enough of an incentivizer to achieve the goal that we're talking about, which is a star-studded, stacked, no questions asked home run derby field.
Honestly, like short of, and this will never
I know. What
happen.
do you do? Is that what you're going to
Well, this is what I was going to say. Short of what I'm about to say happening, how else do you incentivize them? But,
I don't know.
Okay. Well, here. So you're a young player, right? You're in year 2. So you just had your rookie year. Now you're in year 2. You're a year away from arbitration. You win the Derby, you get arbitration next year. You're a 5th year player, or you're a 6th year player.
A much more interesting idea than anything else I've heard as it relates to this.
You win the Derby in your 6th year or your 5th year. Guess what? Boom. This is now your 6th year. You will be a free agent next year. Like you can swing your way.
You're not fucking.
Yeah, teams are like, no home run derby.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Teams are like, no, we're fucking. Yeah, we are phantom ILing you. You are not going anywhere near the fucking home run derby.
They'll hit you with the car after the final game going to the All-Star break before they go that route. Let's be for real.
But I mean, like seriously, short of like putting your career control in your hands and like your service time in your hands, what do you do?
I think we're trying to solve some. First of all, I think we're trying to solve a problem that doesn't, or a question that doesn't really have a problem, so to speak. And I also feel like we're never going to get what we want here. This is an exhibition, and we have reached a point in sports where these people make too much money and are in too much demand year round, to the point about the vacation. It's not just a vacation from the season, although that's the most important thing. A lot of these guys it's not like some of them do, I'm sure, but a lot of them are in demand during the off season as well to various degrees. Like when you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's the star level we're really talking about here, like we can't put that back in the bottle. So no. I think we have to be accepting of the type of fields that we have seen the last handful of years, which is a mix of like top line veterans having amazing, like moment in time seasons, like a Cal Raleigh or something like that. The young up and coming players who maybe haven't gotten paid yet, or who are viewing it as an exposure opportunity to whatever degree, in the Gunnar Hendersons, the James Woods, those type of people, Junior Caminero, who have participated over the years, and then filling in between with people that are of various degrees of interest. And I think in general, they have arrived at pretty good mixes with that. And I don't necessarily see why that would change. To me, I think you guys are right that the current format, the one they're moving to, would be less fatiguing, less concerning, more incentivizing for the player to come and join. So beyond that, I don't know that you do anything. You say, here's the new format, come and play. Let's fucking do this.
I think so. Then I think the onus is on individuals like us, the safe place that we are for players. I think it is our duty and responsibility to glorify the individuals who do choose to participate in these events, because it feels like that's going to be as close as we get to satisfying the little Jared's hearts of the world, the little Milky's hearts, the little DB's hearts, the little little Saddam's hearts. Like I feel like that is the best job that we can do, is when somebody says, when Murakami says, fuck yeah, I want to participate, get me in there. We need to be flying that flag. That's what needs to happen, is because now we can pedestalize the love for the game, the pure love and enjoyment of going out there and crushing baseballs. We can pedestalize that, because isn't that what we're after? We're after the athletes who just love doing what they do because they're good at it and they love to do it. So then we need to make sure that people know that that's why these folks are participating. That's why these dudes are someone who you need to rock with, is because they just want to go out there and fucking mash.
I'm excited for the Derby. We should, well, fuck. I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. Like, by the way, internet, you fucking pieces of shit. We applied for fucking credentials to the All-Star game. Guess who got them? We did. Fuck you. All the people that, they didn't get press passes to the winter meetings because Coley was mean to Cam Schlittler, and you shouldn't do that. Well, no. We told you it was because of our affiliation to a gambling company. That's why we didn't get it. It has nothing to do with the content. And now here we are as an independent media company. We're 1 for 1 in getting fucking media credentials for a major MLB event. So fuck you. Fuck everybody out there.
Wow.
Either you're with us or you're against us. Suck our fat fucking cocks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the rundown.
That was not in the rundown.
No, but you know how many things, Jay Hay, that I just have to fucking sit here and take it, knowing that I'm right and the rest of the internet's wrong. It's like, well,
I have a rough idea.
How many? If all the time, right? If everyone thinks that you're wrong, you're the only one that thinks that you're right. Aren't you the problem? The answer to that, most often, yes. But in this case, no. I'm right. You're all wrong.
You should get yourself some kind of award to remember this moment, or maybe make this point to people.
For a small nominal fee of $35.95, I believe there are these awards.
So here, okay, yeah. Let's go. Let's have the conversation. That I'm building a set for my stream over here.
First person to ever have this conversation publicly, by the way.
Let's have the conversation.
Are you sure?
Have a conversation? We'll have a conversation.
Yeah, you sure you want to do this?
I am building a stream set behind me over here. Okay. And everyone's like, oh, what are you going to put back there? All the awards that I should have won, but I didn't. Okay. I can go onto Etsy and fucking customize an Emmy award. That's mine. I deserve that. So I'm making an Emmy award. Then after that, I'm going to customize a 100 subscriber plaque for Baseball is Dead in Section 10 YouTube channels because we should be at 100,000 subscribers. We're not.
Say 100,000,
we
not
fucking
100.
should be. Our content is excellent. So I'm going to make those plaques. And when I win the real thing, when I get my fucking Emmy, when we hit 100,000 subscribers, then I'll maybe I'll donate though. Someone wants the dummy one. Great, you can have it. Then I'll replace it with the real one. It's just a placeholder for what I deserve.
Hey, Jared, you know what this is? You know what this is?
What?
To all the naysayers, you ask them, have you never made a real life vision board before?
Yeah.
That's all that is, right? It's just a glorified vision board.
It's manifesting.
That's it. It's a vision board.
Yeah. Anyone that thinks that we don't deserve it.
It's a vision trophy case.
Yeah. It's a placeholder for what's coming home eventually. Right?
Yeah, you're just getting ahead of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? So like
ceremony?
I put some other decorative items in the background, right? But then when we win a fucking Emmy and we have our YouTube plaques, now where are they gonna go? I don't know.
I tell you what, you're shortchanging us if you do not hold a ceremony and present yourself with these awards.
We should do it on stream.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, tune into Just the Nuts to see Jared get his fake awards.
They're not fake. They're real awards that just aren't here yet.
Yeah, you can touch them. You could
right.
For sure touch them.
They're real awards that don't stand for anything.
Yeah,
I stand for what they represent.
They're not correct in the moment, but they will be in the future. It's like when you have a take, you just got to give it enough time for it to eventually be correct.
You're seeing
wrapped your head around that, Jay.
Yeah.
Jared, just a thought here with the World
for what they mean.
With all the World Series trophies you have, maybe it would be a good idea to even order some for the years we thought the Red Sox should have won, like 08 or 21.
An 08 trophy, yeah. A 2021
I don't know.
trophy.
It's a thought.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
That's not a bad thought.
There's no rules here. We're making the rules ourselves.
No. Yeah. Now that we have the internet, you can just make a trophy for anything, even if you didn't win it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And it's not, I won't make trophies for things that like I don't deserve. Like I deserve an Emmy, so I'm going to custom make an Emmy. And I believe that we deserve 100,000 subscriber YouTube plaque. So that will be also something that,
Take it out of my pay.
Oh, I was going to do that anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in debt actually working this job at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, man. Like I was rooting for you to make some money.
It's not your fault. I've done it all myself.
Yeah, that's true. Accountability. I like it.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, if you have any suggestions for other awards that I should win, leave a comment and I'll be sure to see if they make them on the internet. Sure they do.
There's gonna be
maybe
a lot
like
of great ideas.
like there's got to be what other like Can I put like if I just
The
had like
Pulitzer.
a Grammy back there?
The what now?
The Pulitzer Prize?
The Pulitzer?
What's it called?
Oh man, I thought I got you there.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh, he missed
Pulitzer
an
Prize.
I. There's an I in there. It's
Yeah.
a Pulitzer. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not up for that. Why would I know?
We
Not
all
yet.
know you're not up for it. Yeah.
Jared, maybe with all the money you're spending on these trophies, we can get a deal on one of those for me.
We get Milky. Yeah.
Oh well, you, Jared,
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize.
That too.
you're
Yeah.
gonna need an Oscar, I would assume.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. What looks cooler? Oh, they're like
I
it's
mean,
like
the
a
Golden Man
gold
is pretty
cylinder.
cool, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty iconic. I think you're probably gonna go ahead and need to treat yourself to a Stanley Cup.
yeah.
The Lombardi Trophy, Jared, just hold it up in the back.
Like yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, that one
Can't
was
wait.
You can get a diamond record, Jared. Do you want a diamond record plaque?
Kinda, yeah.
I know that people frown on AI usage, and I'm certainly one of those people. But if there was a use case, I do feel like it might be in your new shrine area, maybe, or just maybe some good old fashioned Photoshop if Corey's up for it. Would be to Photoshop yourself into the moment where you captured these trophies. So
Yeah,
lifting
just
the
on
Stanley
stage.
Cup up on the ice, yeah, or right up there with like Matthew McConaughey or something like that
Yeah.
with your trophy, yeah.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston's handing me my Emmy. I'm just like, wow,
What a
this
moment!
is great, man.
Hey, home run derby trophy. That could be the next.
Oh, the WBC trophy goes crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, I would take.
Well,
one
who
of
would you
those.
be?
Have you
Who would
crying
you be
like
winning
Miggy?
that on behalf of, Jared?
the Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
That's ours, Jared. That's fucking ours.
Yeah, I mean,
Check in with Willie Abreu, please.
depends on what year. Yeah. I mean, we did win it one year. If you guys heard the BID episode on Wednesday, then that means that you heard the big news. And if you haven't heard the big news, well, it is massive news. It is Baseball Lifestyle 101 partnering with Baseball is Dead and Section 10. We're very excited about this. I'm excited. I'm actually wearing Baseball Lifestyle sweatpants right now. These are probably from like 2020 or 2021. I've been a customer myself for many years, and I cannot explain to you how excited I am that we are going to be partnering with Baseball Lifestyle 101. Let's talk about a brand that I am genuinely fired up to have a part of, a little bit of a partnership with us, and it's been a long time coming. Let's just say that. If you've spent any time around this game, you've already seen the brand, the gears in the dugout, the travel ball parents, on the kid taking cuts in the cages. Where there is baseball, there is BL 101. Here's the backstory here. Back in 2013, a baseball-obsessed 15-year-old started an Instagram for the love of the game that he loved. And today he's turned that into one of the biggest baseball apparel brands in the country. Over 500,000 customers stocked nationwide at Dick's Sporting Goods and Academy Sports. And here's why we partner with them. They make gear for the exact people listening right now. And that's you guys. Tees, hoodies, hats that you'll actually wear off the field, plus a premium Pro Series for the serious player. Again, I've been repping the brand as a customer for many years. So the sky is the limit. I'm kind of thinking like maybe some collabs that we could do together now that we're both in the merch game here. But Baseball Lifestyle offers youth through adult, the whole baseball family. This was a brand that we've been impressed with for a very long time, and we're absolutely fired up to make them the official baseball apparel company of Baseball is Dead, as well as Section 10. New collections drop every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and they are limited, so when they are gone, it's gone. Your first order, though, you want a promo code? How about it? Use the promo code BID, and that'll get you 20% off at BL101.com. Again, promo code BID for 20% off at BL101.com. It's more than a game, it's a lifestyle. Go get yours. Shout out to Baseball Lifestyle 101. Very excited to work together.
Hey everyone, it's Tyler Milliken. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've tried to do the weight loss thing on my own before, and I think the biggest problem for me wasn't that I didn't care. I did care. I just didn't really have anyone telling me, hey, do this, not that, stick with this, here's what's next. And the great thing about Awaken 180 is that now I know exactly what my eating habits need to be on a day-to-day basis. I know where the bumpers are in life. And a lot of times, listen, I've talked about it with bowling. I could talk about it in many other ways. Bumpers are a good thing. If you're lacking the knowledge or maybe just some of the nutritional information that a normal person, or maybe in your life, no one's been there to kind of coach you through it, to have someone like Awaken 180 there as a resource goes so far when you're trying to accomplish those goals, get into a healthier mind state, physically, mentally, all of those things. And one of the best parts about the Awaken 180 app is the ability to track things like carbohydrates and proteins and your calories so that you always know where you're coming from. For me, I was someone who always kind of eyeballed it or tried to do it off the top of my head. That is not the right approach. When you can go calorie by calorie to ensure you're meeting your goals, that goes such a long way for me. Because in the middle of baseball season or watching games, talking Sox, just the weird hours that all kind of pop up, it's easy to lose the progress you're trying to make or the path you need to follow in order to get back to a healthier place in life. So I started Awaken 180, and so far that's been the biggest difference for me. I met with Skylar, we started the next day, and now I've got something to follow. I'm using the Awaken 180 app, like I said, and staying within my restrictions, along with longer walks and trying to drink more water, doing a lot of those healthier things in life. And I am already down 12 pounds in just under 2 weeks. The weight is just melting off with Awaken 180, but more than that, it feels doable. It's not me trying to be a hero by myself. It's a medication-free weight loss program providing free support for life. If you've been waiting to get help, go to awaken180weightloss.com, the official weight loss program of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, leave a comment. What award should I win? And we'll get it taken care of. We'll expense it on the company card. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani, man, it's been bad, right? First 7 starts, he had 5 earned runs, and then the last 2, he has 7.
It's the first 2-start stretch where he has yielded more than 2 earned runs. That's what it is. That's really all it is. His ERA has gone from it was 0.74. And then over the last 2 starts, it has ballooned all the way up to 1.47.
Which puts him behind Mizorowski at this point in time, even though Ohtani doesn't qualify yet. But I do think we're getting to the point here, definitely, where Ohtani, I think, when you factor in the injuries, that knee, I know everyone was talking about the blister bleeding. He went to cover first in that inning on a Cedric Mullins grounder. He did not look good trying to get over to first base. He was limping afterwards. I do wonder if we're starting to see just maybe he needs a breather or something along those lines. The wear and tear might be catching up a little bit, because this was the first start where he didn't start in the lineup either in 4 starts in a row before this one.
Yeah. And this just to zoom out a little bit, this is why players, specifically players, have the respect and the adoration for what he has done, and the awe with which we look at him with, is because that is the first thing they think about, is how their body feels performing their individual responsibility as a player. And then they think to themselves, and could I go and do the other thing too? Like, that's fuck, man. I'm tired just thinking about it. And this is, I think this has always been the worry or the concern, or I would even say expectation, is that the shelf life of the player, you feel, is dwindling twice as fast because he's doing twice the work of the average baseball player, either position player or pitcher. Either way you slice it, he's doing what the other does as well. And that there's no denying the kind of physical demand that requires, because you can't just go and half-ass either one of these jobs, right? If you're going to be the guy who is designated to hit, we're going to need you to be bringing the A game daily. If you're going to be the guy who's taking the baseball every 5th or 6th day, we're going to need you to be able to physically answer that bell to the best of your capability. If you're also going to be the dude who does both of them, well, damn, okay, we understand what that's going to require. How do we handle this moving forward? So I think it's an opportunity to give a little love to the training staff and everybody else that is involved in what it has taken to keep Ohtani as viable as he has been and as durable to the extent that he has been, minus obviously the structural damage that the elbow has endured, because it's just not easy. It is just simply not easy to go out and compete at the level that he does. So is it expected? Unfortunately, yes, the wear and tear is. Does it scare you? I think it's fair to say that you're a little uneasy about it. But I think that the part of the season that we're coming up on, the conversation we just had about the home run derby, this will be an opportunity for Ohtani to rest, relax, reset, recover, and that's when the Dodgers, isn't that the portion of the season that the Dodgers really care about?
Yeah, and Dave Roberts, I think, even alluded to a little bit how fine this margin of error is for Ohtani, where like the night before, quick game, as we all know, but they're coming back with an early afternoon start. They're like, he needs the sleep. He needs the rest. That's how close the margins you are playing with a guy who has to carry this kind of workload. And to his credit, he kept pitching yesterday. This isn't a guy who's trying to protect his ERA or do anything like that. He grinded through it, gave him another inning after that, and still came in, was willing to work as a pinch hitter despite not being in the starting lineup. So credit to him for not caring about a lot of those individual things and putting, whatever the team first impact would be. Because I don't know if every baseball player would do that based on the load he's already carrying.
I'm glad you phrased it that way, because that leads me to my question, which is, like, people made a big deal about his desire to win the Cy Young, right? I'm not making that up. That's a thing, right? Yeah, I mean, Dallas, yeah, not in a pejorative way, but we have talked about it on this podcast. Yep. Mm-hmm. So is that still a priority / is it a priority? And can that exist moving forward with what we're seeing right now in a world where, like, prioritizing that, can that exist in the world where that T's talking about, where he's not putting himself first and that sort of thing? Because to me, stepping back, I'm not trying to achieve the thing like Ohtani is. The Cy Young feels like we're borderline losing it. Like it's kind of out of his grasp at this point, because he's very unlikely at this point going to have the rate stat advantage over Mizorowski, and maybe not Sanchez either, but probably not Jacob Mizorowski. And he's not going to have the bulk of either one of those guys, it looks like, either. So what would the argument be for the Cy Young? So I guess if the Cy Young pursuit actually isn't that important to him, and that's just more of been a talking point and something that was a thing and maybe isn't a thing, then I guess my point is moot. But if that's something that he's actually trying to achieve, there will come a point, and maybe it's right now, where it feels like it's a pursuit that's not worth prioritizing because of where the other performances around him.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are 69 other players that have at least one more start than Ohtani does under his belt. And you got to go, everything you're saying about the body of work and whether or not he's going to be at the top of that list or even near the top of the list, even qualifying is going to be a serious question. In my opinion, and this may be getting a little aggressive, but at this point, I mean, how is Mizorowski? How does he not have an absolute stranglehold on the top spot of the Cy Young? I called Christopher
But
Sanchez.
he's the disaster. He's the disaster for Ohtani, because you're having someone with a historical season who's doing things on such a mind-blowing level. We're all paying attention. He didn't need this if he was hoping to win it this year.
Well, and here's the thing, T, is I think what's even more detrimental to the case is the fact that Miz is doing what he's doing, and then the fallback, the second place guy, is Christopher Sanchez doing what he's doing. So you go, there's no way he's competing with Miz. Who's the next guy? Oh, fuck, there's no way he's going to. So then it's just like, yeah. So then it's like, okay,
the numbers.
Conversation's over, right? Like that's just, I think that's how it goes. And the one thing about Mizorowski and Sanchez right now is I think they're separated by 12 innings or so. So that's a start and a half, maybe. I mean, it takes one shortened start from Miz and a CG from Sanchi, and it's now we're talking dead heat, dead even, and then we just get into the pure dominance and the fact that Mizorowski is blowing him out of the water. That's where the battle for Ohtani becomes a very, very difficult one to even entertain at that point. And so in my opinion, right now, and I get it, there's still a lot of season left. There's literally, you could take the body of work that Miz and Sanchez have posted right now, and you could erase it and go, all right, from this point moving forward, we can have a conversation about what the remainder of their seasons look like, because they're not head to head, but it is very close. So this is where the second half of their seasons are going to come into play. And Ohtani is just not there.
And we know that knee injury does go back to the pitching mechanics. He's now mentioned that on his own, talking about where it's coming from. So I think that is going to be another thing to watch. But to his credit, the velocity was up yesterday about half a tick. The one thing, and I wanted to ask you this, Dallas, because I don't know anything about blisters. Threw a lot more of the curveball in this start, almost doubled his usage, going away from the sweeper. Now there's more lefties in that Rays lineup, and the curveball comes out more in some of those spots. Would that be anything related to a blister, or
Sure.
how do you view that?
Pressure. It's about. Hold on. Let me just let me get my ball sack here.
Pull it out for me.
Yeah. Oh, say it slow. So it's about pressure. And so depending on what your grip is, if we're talking middle finger, curveball as opposed to the sweeper, you're really trying to, curveball, you're able to finish that pitch kind of with more of the pressure distributed across the entire phalange as opposed to just the very end. That sweeper, you're really applying pressure there so that you can fucking rip that seam. So you can really rip that thing. And that can be the difference, right? And I think for Ohtani and for a lot of guys, that is the difference. I know for me, oddly enough, that was where I felt a lot of the pressure on my cutter. And it was because I was really trying to apply the pressure through the fastball, and everything else felt okay. But that's where I started to develop a little bit of the blister. And I think that's just, it varies from guy to guy based on your pitch grip, based on where you're at on the rails and seams, and just how you let the baseball go, how it comes out of your hand. But that could very well, because when I throw this, I really feel it. But when I throw this, I don't feel it as much. And that's why you might see a shift in pitch usage. It's just a way to try to survive the outing without putting yourself in a position where, look, I can't throw the ball anymore because my finger has been compromised. Like throwing the fastball, I can't do it. Throwing the sweeper, I really can't do it. So now I got to go to the curveball. Even the curveball, I'm not able to finish the way I'd like to. So now you see an entire arsenal start to suffer or take a step back. And it's because of the blister. The blister it's one of the most, I remember a game, in, I was in Texas, and I had a blister, and I had a blister that I felt like I was going to be able to pitch through, felt okay. And then in between innings, I popped a fucking ammonia capsule, and I ended up getting fiberglass in my finger and pulled it out, but went out to the mound and was just fucking bleeding profusely. And I had to come out of the game because I had fucking fiberglass in my finger. And it's because what you don't want to do is you start to alter shit, you start to baby shit, and now things can just go sideways quickly. And I know it might sound funny, but the minute you start to change your hand, that could very well lead to a change in arm angle. That could very well lead to shortening something up in terms of release. Now you're putting your body in a different position than you're typically used to repeating. Injury becomes an issue. Like there's just so many different ways this can go. That's why blisters are, I hate when I see guys get blisters. Like think about what it did to Aaron Sanchez. Like that dude battled blisters. That dude had some of the most absolutely disgusting shit on
won an ERA
the
title.
planet. On the planet. That dude was filthy. And then it felt like there was like a 2-year stretch where blisters were just kicking his ass, and you can't do much about it. Shout out the baseballs and the way that those were being manipulated. Jesus Christ. But yeah, dude, blisters are a bitch.
It's so cool to hear Tyler ask that question and then you to answer that in that way, because to what Tyler was getting at with the sweeper stuff, you now see the picture. I mean, you could watch the game, but having Dallas's commentary and the numbers all paired together, not only did he bail on the usage early, to Tyler's point about how many he threw on the sweeper, but spin rate was the lowest it's been all season. Whiff rate was second lowest in any start this year and functionally not there. And he gave up 3. They were singles, but he gave up 3 hits off of it while using it, as Tyler said, the lowest rate or the lowest total usage that it was all season. So it's just he's probably out there thinking what, fuck this. You know what I mean? This is just not happening tonight.
And that's where the credit to what Milky asked or talked about just before that is battling. Yeah. Look, pitching will always be about how good of a contingency plan you have in place, because there might be out of the 30 plus starts you're going to make, there might be 5 days out of the entire year where you go out there feeling like a world beater with your stuff intact, health intact. Everything feels fucking great. You guys have zero chance. There might be a handful of days throughout the season where that's the case. Every other time you take the baseball, something is going to not be as good as you would like it to be. Something is not going to feel as good as you would like it to feel. And it's about how you are going to react accordingly. That's what pitching is. That's what makes it so beautiful is each and every time you take the ball, it's a test. It's a test to see how you're going to be able to navigate without having your best arsenal. You're going to battle with a sword that's not as sharp as you would like it to be. How are you going to maneuver? What do you use now tactically to defeat your opponent? And that's what makes this the most beautiful confrontation in sport between pitcher and hitter, because you know that that guy has a really good read on what you do, when you do it, and why you do it. And now it's up to you to camouflage and then strike at the most opportune time for you based on what you have going on any given day. There's just no other... In my opinion, there's no other test outside of lining two dudes up on opposing goal lines and just running fucking full speed at each other. There's like really no better way to go. All right, here it is. Lay it on the table. Let's see who's got what. I mean, that's what, God damn, that's what makes this game so beautiful.
PCA is, he's red hot. You want a little sample? I got a little sample for you. It's his last 95 plate appearances, which spans 20 games. Unfortunately, the Cubs are 500 in those 10 games, or 20 games. They're 10-10. PCA is hitting .391, getting on base at a .432 clip. He's slugging .828. The OPS, that's .1259. He's hit 9 home runs in his last 20 games, 7 doubles and 2 triples. He's now homered in 3 straight games, 4 out of his last 5. The man is on fire. You can chant overrated at him all you want. He's going to hurt you. He's going to punish you for that. Someone that we're probably going to see in Philadelphia, maybe?
Right now, war-wise?
Yes.
He's just below Bobby Witt Jr., and then there's Ohtani, who's not a human being.
I would think so. Dude, Jared, I thought I touched on PCA yesterday because I had similar numbers and maybe I messed a game up somewhere in there, but he's only got one during this run that you're talking about. There's only one game where he's gone hitless in that stretch. One. And that was against the Rockies. Yep. One game he's gone hitless. Otherwise, he would be in the running with
Still
Zach
got on
Geloff.
base too.
Yeah. So he would be in the running in terms of 20 plus game hit streaks. He would be right there with Zach Geloff, who in his last at bat last night, down to his last swing, pumped one out of the yard to extend his hit streak to 21 games. Shout out Zach Geloff.
Shout out Zach Geloff, man. He huge Red Sox fan, by the way. Love him.
Easy. But yeah, PCA is on another planet, dude. On another planet.
He is.
Right
he's added about 150 points to his OPS just since the start of the month. Jay?
I just don't think he's like, I think he's typecast as an idiot. Like, I don't think people treat him like he has made year over year improvements that I think almost any other batter would be given way more credit for. And I feel like the national conversation on Pete Crow-Armstrong is still more about how his defensive value inflates his overall value relative to some of these other guys instead of appreciating. I mean, I know Chicago's appreciating him, but like you just very rarely see year over year improvements. Like there are lots of numbers you could get into about that, but that it seems like each and every year he's doing kind of what we talk about Ohtani doing, which is like adding a piece that makes him a little bit better every season and makes him a more well-rounded player. This year in one example, it's his performance against off-speed pitches where he has drastically improved the results there. There are lots of other things. I know T put out something this morning or last night, whenever it was, that I'm sure he'll get to in a second. But like, I'm fascinated by the idea that he's like the best, arguably the best non-Ohtani player in the National League right now, and what the actual MVP voting would look like if it happened? Like, would he get that level of respect, or would people be more comfortable putting their eggs in the basket of somebody who's more offensively balanced because we're more comfortable with that mix? T, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go back to the second half last year, and it scared so many people off. And the way I look at PCA, and I think the name you always kind of attach is someone like Ceddanne Rafaela. And Ceddanne Rafaela's had a really good year this year. I think people are excited about a lot of those things, but it was because those guys chased as much as anyone in the entire sport. And so far this year for PCA, he actually has the stuff underneath the hood that Rafaela doesn't really have to cling to. His chase percentage has gone from the 2nd percentile to the 9th percentile. The walk rate's up by 3% this year. And even going back to like the middle of May, if you saw what Twitter was or baseball Twitter was in April, people were taking that second half of PCA, that first month of April, and being like, he is a bottom 10 qualified hitter in the sport.
They gave $100 million to a guy who sucks. That
people had overreacted. That's where people were. But you saw what he did in May. And when you can see the kind of correlation, I think this stuff is so exciting. He has a different stance. It's a bigger leg kick. The hands are lower, more inside at this point in time. But more importantly, and it goes almost directly, and this is what Jay Hay was talking about that I put on Twitter. If you look at when his WOBA started to take off, it came right along with his swing percentage dropping dramatically. Right now for the year, it's down about 4 points overall, but even compared to where he was early in the season when he was swinging a ton still, and it was really near 60% early in the year, to get that down now to the 52% part, you're watching a guy whose approach has transformed at the big league level in real time. You have mechanical changes. You have an approach change. You're seeing the ball in ways you never saw before. That helps against some of the off-speed stuff that Jay Hay's talking about. That's the growth you're watching in real time right now. And yeah, if it looks anything like this moving forward, he is going to be an MVP conversation because his floor is so high defensively. Yeah. You add in the type of bat he is, where he's the hottest hitter in the sport, especially in the month of June. He's been worth almost 2 WAR, and it's June 18th this month? Like this month alone, you talk about that over the pace of 6 months, and I know that's not super sustainable, but being anywhere around that, yeah, you're going to be at the top of the WAR leaderboard like Bobby Witt Jr. is year in and year out.
It's hot. I mean, for a year that the Cubs are having right now.
That's the worst part, though.
Yeah.
They got this version of him, and it still isn't saving them. If you said PCA had this kind of year, people are like, oh, the NL Central's over. They're one of the World Series favorites. They still are under 500 this month.
But overall, like,
in general,
still a winning record. Are they in danger of missing the playoffs? Yes, but like if it ended today, they're in. You know, I it's weird because like I do think that perhaps the division ship has sailed for the Chicago Cubs, but this idea that they had this really hard stretch and it cost them the postseason, that's not true. I think that narrative kind of started to permeate throughout the league, or like baseball Twitter being like, yeah, Cubs fans, like, go fuck yourself, like, you know. And I'm part of it. The Chicago White Sox are the real Chicago team now. And the White Sox are the more exciting team, no doubt. But now that Murakami is down, PCA is by far the most exciting player in Chicago. And again, it may, like, we could be looking at a situation where, is it a disappointing year for the Cubs? Yes. Could it end up being in the second half that it ends up finishing as a disappointing year for the Cubs? Yes. But does that mean that they missed the playoffs? Not necessarily.
Right now, though, like, the Padres are frauds, so I don't believe in them
let's see what the Cubs do at the deadline, because they need pitching. Like, they've needed pitching for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, we've known that about them. So how do they address it? And then I guess we sort of have the conversation in the second half of the season of where are the Cubs in our power rankings, because right now I think you have to slap an incomplete on them.
I would argue that Crow-Armstrong, even with a fully healthy, on full tilt Murakami, is still the most exciting player in Chicago, because this is a dude who is 30-30 capable. This is a dude who plays ridiculous defense, which is exciting. And this is a dude who moves around on the bases. It's fun to watch. It's a fun brand of baseball to watch. It feels like it is a complete baseball player. When you talk about growing up and wanting to be a complete ball player, that's the kind of ball player you want to be. Like you pretend to be the home run hitter in the backyard, and that's fun. But what Pete Crow-Armstrong does, I think, is what, if you're talking about being a ball player, that's what a ball player does. Impacts the game in every single way. And that's not taking anything away from Murakami. That's identifying and acknowledging how complete of a game Pete Crow-Armstrong could bring to the table. Hit for average, hit for power, great arm, great defense, like runs well. Like what? There's really, when you think about it, there's nothing that he can't do well on a baseball field. That's about as exciting as it gets. The dude who pumps 30, can swipe 30, can go into the gap and get one, can go over the wall and get one, and throw your ass out at third or home. Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Well, hopefully they can keep it going. I'm very intrigued to see how they approach the trade deadline. What are they willing to part with? How desperate are they willing to get? And I don't know. This element also, the PCA element makes it more interesting as far as the deadline is concerned, because if you're the Cubs, you have to be thinking, okay, team-wise, we've got some holes to say the least, but are we willing to be passive or potentially waste a career year for a guy that we've invested all of this in? Like, we're getting the year that we finally thought we were going to get from PCA, or perhaps more so. Like, this is past the ceiling that we thought that he had. Are we willing to just waste that and not be aggressive here and really go on a run and try and capitalize? I don't know.
I think it's more of a reality check that, wow, we're getting the 100th percentile outcome for PCA and we're still not where we need to be as a team. That should frighten you more than anything at this juncture.
Cubs got to get outs, man. That's the bottom line, is the Cubs have to get outs. Their rotation driving the struggle bus right now.
Cabrera left another start. I know he's expected to make the next one, but talk about just being disappointing overall.
It is not good. I mean, the bullpen, from what I remember, bullpen not terrible. I mean,
Palencia
getting the job done.
Right?
Yeah, what's that?
Palencia's on the IL, but Dallas, you're right. The bullpen has largely gotten the job done this year.
But I mean, it's the starting rotation, man. Straight up, you gotta the initial out getters. There needs to be some help.
But I just go back to Jared's point about like the full blown panic mode, and I get it. They were not washed out of playoff contention, but to go from this team is a World Series contender, both preseason expectation and when they had a 90% chance to make the playoffs a month or a month and a half into the season, to be where they're at now, like I do think that's worthy of an enormous amount of panic, even if their season is not over.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody here think that they're, even though they sit, what are they behind Milwaukee? 5 games, 6 games, something like that, right?
It's like 8.
Yeah,
really?
That's over.
Yeah, I think it's a wrap, bruh. They are
8.
Okay, so nobody thinks that that's going to be. I mean, no. What I was going to say is nobody thinks that they were going to. I was going to say nobody thinks they're going to close that gap, even if it were 5 or 6 games. The fact that it's 8 games, I think, pretty much solidifies the thought. Is that a consensus here?
Yes.
So then, do you automatically just find yourself now, if you're the Cubs, looking around the rest of the National League going, all right, well, who are we better than across the board there? Because now who are we talking about? We got to contend with the Padres. We got to contend with the D-backs in the West. We got to contend with the Phillies, with the Nats, right? Even maybe the Marlins to an extent. Like, those are now the conversations that we have to be having, is where do we stack up against those clubs? Because it's not a matter of the division. It's a matter of the wild card. And at what place in that wild card hierarchy do we feel like we fit in? And if you're comfortable with how things are right now, let's say no move was made, everything stays the same, you get guys back that are healthy and you move forward, do you feel like you are in position to maintain your standing in the wild card? That's the conversation they have to be having right now.
Given the fucking teams you just named, they better fucking hope so.
I mean, but Jay, But I mean, dude,
those teams
seriously,
are bad. Those teams are bad. The Pirates could be nasty or interesting. The Marlins, the D-backs, the Padres are non-serious contenders. Like they may get a wild card spot, but that would be an epic failure by the Cubs if that happened.
I didn't even bring up the Pirates though, because the Cubs are ahead of the Pirates in
no,
this
they're ahead of them, but they're generally, the only
sure,
teams that they're ahead of the D-backs too. I'm just saying, like, these are the general group of teams that they're going to have to compete with. I agree. Like you have to be able to beat those teams given what the expectations were. If they don't, I'm not calling for Jed Hoyer's job. I think it's lame to say people should get fired or whatever. We've had enough of this.
That's for Jared
on this podcast, lately. But that would be a colossal fucking failure if the Cubs miss the playoffs to the likes of some of those teams.
Well, and it's what are you going to be willing to move at the deadline to get there? Like, is it going to be someone like Pedro Ramirez or Matt Shaw? Some of these pieces that you almost kind of cling to when you have aging veterans in your infield right now that you are worried about long term, because some of those guys are providing some of the brighter lights about what your future could be. And I know everyone wants to attach Sonny Gray and say he's a future Cub. I don't have to think twice about it. Go check out what that buyout is for next year. The Ricketts, they do not like to spend money, and if you're throwing that on what is already looking like something that's kind of crumbling, or it's not going to be what many people thought they were paying for, I think that's going to be a hard conversation on its own.
Well, and to the what are you willing to do conversation in terms of sacrificing the future for the present. Owen Casey has not exactly lit the world on fire in that deal, but swapping any future asset for what Edward Cabrera has provided to this point is a loss for the Cubs. So 100%. To what degree are they a little shook on their own internal evaluation ability to figure out what works and what doesn't? But it's a tough situation. Oh, welcome back to Baseball is Dead Family Feud, our inaugural episode in the permanent, to the best of our ability, 2v2 format. I'm very excited about this era. It's going to unleash a whole new level of competition and bitterness and hatred and rivalry to Family Feud, which is what it's really all about. It's about causing as much anxiety and stress for the participants as possible. I am, of course, your host, your man, Justin Havens, and we are very pleased to be joined, our first guest in this era. Round of applause, longtime friend of the pod, RDT.
Thank you, guys. I wasn't expecting to be guest number one or a
number one.
A round of applause like that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people couldn't make it.
Who did you write down?
A lot of people couldn't. I wrote down Ravi.
T, who did I text you?
RDT.
Thank you.
It's my guy.
Did you say what mine was? Jared even look.
You
Jared
texted
even
me
look.
back?
Yes.
No.
It's not worth reading now.
You said passing. Yeah. Wrong.
All right. Well, that just goes up. That's unfair. That's not right.
Yeah.
Don't say it in front of him.
Yeah, there was a guest to see who would be in this chair today, and I was the only one that could smell out my chain brother,
13 years running, 12 years running in a group text message, something like that.
I think it's the first group text I've ever belonged to, and now we're still all in there. You're the last man standing as far as like Barstool employees are concerned.
I guess.
Yeah.
So. We'll see.
Should we hit the randomizer to see what the teams will be for this very first situation?
Is that Jose on the ones and twos? Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So this is how we're going to do it, folks. Every week we're going to spin it, and we're going to pair the three incumbents with the guests. So let's see what we get this week.
Okay.
All right, participant 1.
Let's go.
That's RDT.
Guest.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so
are you going? Is this going to be like captain, or is this his partner is next?
No, this now is his partner. It's got to be fully random. So this now is his partner.
Yep.
Okay.
Milky.
Do it, Milky.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. So we got Tyler and RDT against the old hosses, Jared and Dallas.
You know what's up.
All right.
Yeah, this is gonna be unfair.
Jared and Dallas as the old veterans. I'll
We'll
defer
pop
to you guys. Would you guys like to go first or second?
let's let them go first.
Y'all are scared.
Okay. Nah, we're just seeing how we want to carve you up is all.
All right, pop those headphones
Yeah,
off.
I need some clarification here.
Yes.
We can have the same answers that they have.
Correct.
Right? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
You just can't have the same answers, Jared. Yep. And it's higher point total will win. Nothing super complicated here. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
So I'm popping my top two.
What's up, Jared? Sorry.
We all go one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because like you can't know the questions ahead of time, and they can't.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. So
okay.
So Tyler and RDT have to figure out who's going first between the two of them, and then the other person will mute.
So you're gonna have to like text someone to be like, it's your turn to put your headphones.
That's fine.
Yeah, because if you do headphones, we're gonna be like, who?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. How about let's have me go first, Tyler, because I don't have headphones, so you can just take them off and pop them back on.
Cook, I believe in you.
Producing by RDT.
Let's go.
All right, Dallas, get those headphones off, you dirty little cheater.
Cheater. All
right. Thank you very much for joining. I know you're a longtime listener, first-time feud participant, so you generally know how this works. When we go through the point totals, you'll notice that they're a little bit inflated because we're now doing 200 fans. 200 people get to vote, of course. So, are you ready to get going?
We are ready, baby.
Okay, great. And thanks for hanging with us while we were a little late today.
You're all good.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Name a team participating in the World Cup from Europe other than Spain, France, or England.
Scotland.
Question number 2. ESPN.com just came out with an article ranking the top trade candidates. Not sure if you saw that yesterday. Who will the biggest name other than Tarek Skubal be to be moved at the trade deadline be? And this is multiple choice based on their rankings. Joe Ryan, Byron Buxton, Reed Detmers, Jeremy Pena, or CJ Abrams. Who is the biggest name to be moved?
Byron Buxton.
Question number 3. ESPN.com just came out with their list ranking the MLB executives under the most pressure. Who is the front office exec outside of Boston under the most pressure? Again, multiple choice. Is it Scott Harris of the Tigers, David Stearns of the Mets, Jed Hoyer of the Cubs, Buster Posey of the Giants, Tom Pohlad of the Twins, or Dave Dombrowski of the Phillies?
I'll say Jed Hoyer.
Thank you.
Cubs.
Question 4. How many more combined wins will Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer produce in their MLB careers?
We'll say 11.
And final question. Rank the 4 on-air members of Baseball is Dead in order of height, shortest to tallest.
So this is including you. It's you, Jared.
Me, Jared, Dallas, and Tyler.
All right, we'll go Tyler, Jared, Hey, Dallas.
Thank you. Someone in Discord said I was trying to tear the pot apart with this question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, Tyler.
Hello.
All right, Tyler's up.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That didn't take very long. All right, how you feeling?
Nervous. Extremely nervous.
We got it.
All right. If you answer the same question, I will go.
Okay.
Ready? As always, or for the first time, out of 200 participants. Question number 1: Name a team participating in the World Cup from Europe other than Spain, France, or England.
Germany.
Question 2. ESPN.com just came out with their article ranking the top trade candidates. Who will be the biggest name other than Tarek Skubal to be moved at the trade deadline this year? This is multiple choice. Byron Buxton, Jeremy Pena, Joe Ryan, CJ Abrams, Reed Detmers.
Joe Ryan.
Question number 3. ESPN.com just came out with their list ranking the MLB executives under the most pressure. Who is the front office exec outside of Boston under the most pressure? Multiple choice. Is it Scott Harris, Tigers, David Stearns, Mets, Jed Hoyer, Cubs, Buster Posey, Giants, Tom Pohlad, Twins, or Dave Dombrowski, Phillies?
Scott Harris.
Question 4. How many more combined wins will Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer produce in their MLB careers?
9.
And final question. Rank the 4 on-air members of Baseball is Dead in order of height, shortest to tallest.
Jared, me, Hey Dallas.
Thank you. All right. Let's see.
I like it.
You feel good, RDT?
I do. I think because a lot of your answers are ones that I was gonna. We were close.
Okay. Me and Jared always run into each other. We have this issue where we guess like 3 or 4 out of the same ones.
I will say too, elephants are not a predator. I just have to get that out there.
Fuck off with that shit, man. They kill the village.
They don't eat the prey though.
Still stomped them.
Yeah, but they don't eat it. That's a predator. But
you have to eat it?
Yeah, I would think.
Can you hear me, DB?
All right.
You got me? Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
All right. Your opponents have laid down the gauntlet. They have arrived at their answers. Now it's time for you.
All right.
Are you ready?
Thirsty bitches. Yeah, let's roll.
As always, thank you to the Discord. Nothing but class there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Drop this one at 2:20 in the morning. Name a team. Question number 1. Name a team participating in the World Cup from Europe other than Spain, France, or England.
Germany.
Question number 2. ESPN.com just came out with their article ranking the top trade candidates. Who will be the biggest name other than Tarek Skubal?
Oh, what the fuck?
Other than Tarek Skubal to be moved at the trade deadline this year. This is a multiple choice question. Byron Buxton, Jeremy Pena, Joe Ryan, CJ Abrams, Reed Detmers.
Reed Detmers.
Question number 3. ESPN.com just came out with their list ranking the MLB executives under the most pressure. Who is the front office exec outside of Boston under the most pressure? Is it Scott Harris with the Tigers, David Stearns with the Mets, Jed Hoyer with the Cubs, Buster Posey with the Giants, Tom Pohlad with the Twins, or Dave Dombrowski with the Phillies?
I'm gonna say Pohlad.
Love that answer. Question 4. How many more combined wins will Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer produce in their MLB careers?
9.
Question 5. Rank the 4 on-air members of Baseball is Dead in order of height from shortest to tallest.
We're gonna go with gonna go Jared, Milkbag, Hey, myself.
Thank you. Jared's left.
Look at him touching his beard. Miss you, babe.
Hello.
Hello.
See, now we're actually a team, Dallas. Now we have a foe. We have an opponent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There's one question where well, you know what? I don't want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like Saddam's about to yell at you.
No. I was gonna say how I responded was with the thought of me having a teammate, and I answered in a way that I believe, but knowing that there was an opening for an answer based on how I think the discourse is thinking.
Okay.
And I know that that's who you play that way. So I left that open. I was a fucking good teammate is what I'm getting at.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Jared, you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Question number 1. Name a team participating in the World Cup from Europe other than Spain, France, or England.
Nope, not Brazil. A team in the World Cup from Europe, you said?
Yeah.
See what I mean about the timer?
This is insane.
The UK?
Other than England.
Awesome.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Jesus Christ!
Next
Come
question.
on!
Let's go.
I don't watch soccer.
The first fucking answer. The first fucking answer.
Soccer. This is a baseball show. I don't know. I have no idea.
Somebody.
I have no idea. I don't watch soccer.
Pick a fucking country.
You didn't give a fuck when I didn't know the movies. Now you care?
ESPN.com
France.
just came out with their article ranking the top trade candidates. Who will be the biggest name moved other than Tarek Skubal at the trade deadline this year? Multiple choice. Byron Buxton, Jeremy Pena, Joe Ryan, CJ Abrams, Reed Detmers.
Reed Detmers. Fucking, I don't think the other guys are going to get moved. CJ Abrams, I guess.
Question number 3. ESPN.com just came out with their list ranking the MLB executives under the most pressure. Who is the front office exec outside of Boston under the most pressure? Is it Scott Harris with the Tigers, David Stearns with the Mets, Jed Hoyer with the Cubs, Buster Posey with the Giants, Tom Pollad with the Twins, or Dave Dombrowski with the Phillies?
Tigers.
Question 4. How many more combined wins will Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer produce in their MLB careers?
Ooh. Shit. Fucking 10? That seems high.
Question 5. And some are saying this is the most important one by far. Rank the 4 on-air members of Baseball is Dead in order of height, shortest to tallest.
Tyler, me, J. Hay Dallas.
All right.
I mean, that's just like a fact. Like if you, yeah.
All right, let's go through this. Let's see how we did. Question number 1. Name a team participating in the World Cup from Europe other than Spain, France, or England. RDT, a gentleman and a scholar, he said Scotland. That's the number 1 overall answer. That's 40 points right off the bat.
That's what I'm talking about.
All those Fenway videos. I can't stop watching them. They're incredible. So
I can't believe I didn't guess that.
Yep.
Jared, you did a podcast talking about it yesterday.
I don't know that Scotland's in Europe.
You were so close with your UK thing. You don't know how close you were.
Yeah, well, that was second to Brazil.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't say Brazil. I didn't say Brazil.
No,
I said Brazil's not in Europe. That's what I said.
Great job.
Thanks.
Germany, which was the answer provided by both Tyler and Dallas, was the second most common answer, worth 38 points. So Jared had a no answer.
Let's just pretend like me and you got 20 on that one.
So
good job.
I'm actually
good round.
Instead of a no answer, Jared, the judges are saying, yeah, we're gonna have to take Brazil.
That's got to be some points. Saying, I bet you that gets points.
That's 2 points, folks.
Yeah,
so congratulations.
Yeah. Let's go.
We combined for more than 40 on that one.
How was that not
just 40.
Zero?
Just 40. Exactly 40.
We got 40 on that one.
Yep. So we are at 78 to 40 through the first question.
Yeah,
so,
fuck you guys.
Question number 2. Question number 2. Wide range of answers for that question, by the way. Many more answers than are countries in Europe. So if you had answered the United States, you also would have gotten 10 points. Question number 2. ESPN.com just came out with their article ranking the top trade candidates, who will be the biggest name traded. RDT, as the first person to go, said Byron Buxton. That was the number 2 overall answer. That was worth 50. And remember, these numbers are inflated because we're taking 200 points now, double the players. 59 points. That is the second most common answer. Tyler said Joe Ryan. That was the number one overall answer. 60.
These are the dumbest answers. Like
65
Byron Buxton has a no
points.
trade clause, and Joe Ryan, the Twins are like, yeah, we're not moving him. So yeah, all right. Good job, Discourse.
I'll believe
We
that
shitty
at the
answers.
deadline.
We are up to 202 points for the good guys. The bad guys, on the other hand, Reed Detmers was what Dallas said. Jared tried for Reed Detmers and said CJ Abrams. Reed Detmers was the third most common answer. That's going to get
the right answer.
That's going to get you 32 points.
That is the right answer, yeah.
CJ Abrams, unfortunately, was the least common answer of the 5 available. Still will get you 21 points.
Reed Detmers is probably the only guy that's going to get moved from that group.
But that's going to be 53 combined points there. So through 2 questions, we have a score of 202 to 93. So a little bit of ground to make up. ESPN.com just came out with their ranking of the MLB execs under the most pressure. RDT said Jed Hoyer. RDT cools off a little bit on this one. That's the 4th most common answer. That's going to get you 26 points. Scott Harris for Tyler. That was the 4th most common answer, unfortunately. So that's the yin and the yang here. The push and the pull for Jared and Dallas is that unfortunately Jared also said it's Scott Harris. So that's
how is the guy responsible for trading Tarek Skubal not under the most pressure?
It's
this
an
is
interesting
the dumbest
question.
fucking crop of responses from the discourse ever.
It's an interesting question. A lot of these guys are under pressure. I think their markets would say.
This was the one I thought you were just going to throw a posy out there because I promise you that's the number one answer. And I went with that.
But like, how is the guy that has the number one trade piece not under the most pressure to get the best return? That doesn't make any fucking sense. That's the 4th
Jared,
most
neither
common
does
answer.
the U.S. being a country in fucking Europe, but that's what
Sometimes
we're
you gotta
working with.
adjust. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So Dallas, despite saying Tom Pohlad, which was the worst answer available, that got 5 points. His instincts are correct because Buster Posey is the number one overall answer. 69 points sitting there on the board. David Stearns, 57 points left unanswered by both teams, and Dave Dombrowski, 33. So an enormous number of points, for that matter, left by both teams, but more pertinently for Jared and Dallas. So through 3 questions, we're currently sitting at 238 to 108. Question 4. How many more combined wins will Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer produce in their MLB careers? Justin Verlander, I believe, has 0 wins this year. Scherzer just hit the IL. The answers here, I mean, Jared said he felt like his answer was high. You guys were remarkably all in the same ballpark. You answered 9, 10, or 11. So interestingly enough, and Jared's answer was the best. It was the number one overall answer. You get 26 points out of the answer of 10. So congratulations to you. Dallas said 9, and for that matter, so did Tyler. Those were worth 5 points each, and RDT's 11 was worth 4. So Tyler and RDT add a scant 9 points to their total to bring themselves up to 247.
10-point makeup.
Dallas and Jared add 31 points to their total to move up to 141. So you guys are only down 106 points entering this last question. Let's see how this goes. Rank the 4 on-air members of BID, shortest to tallest. Of course, there is a correct answer to this. Remarkably, none of you landed on the correct answer, but that's not really what's important here. The important thing is what did the Discord land on? RDT said Tyler, Jared, Hay, and Dallas. Tyler said Jared, Tyler.
My stance was spread during that Brian Abraham interview. I saw you trying to fucking take credit for that. I was spread.
You were literally fucking at attention. Like,
I was standing next to you, and I
every
said,
inch. Yeah,
when we were at Fedway, I go, I am clearly taller than you today, and you didn't have much of a rebuttal.
You're a lawn gnome. Shut up.
Put the hair down. Let's see what happens.
Tyler said Jared, Tyler, Hay, and Dallas. Dallas hopped on. I'm sorry, Dallas hopped on and said Jared, Tyler, Hay, and Dallas. And Jared wrapped things up by, he had a chance to slight Dallas, didn't go for it, I guess. That's a mistake on your part, because you would have been right, too, if you would have, but you went Tyler, Jared, Hay, and Dallas. I am, of course, the tallest member of the podcast. Check out the photo from House of Blues last year, which is obviously available all over if you want factual verification of that. You can see me in the back. I'm the tallest person So anyway, how do those points rack up? BID saw it this way. Number one overall answer, shortest to tallest. Jared, Tyler, Shohei, and Dallas. That's the number one overall answer. 40 points for people who answered that way. The number two overall answer, which people left on the board completely, was Jared, Tyler, Dallas, and Shohei. That was worth 32 points. Tyler, Jared, Shohei, Dallas, and then Tyler, Jared, Dallas, Shohei were the third and fourth most common answers.
Buddy.
And then
Buddy,
someone
I'm spread.
And then someone answered the question. Many people answered the question in the wrong order because the fifth most common answer was Dallas, Shohei, Tyler, Jared.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
And
Jose, I'm going to send this to you.
No.
I'm going to send this
And
to
I
you,
was
Jose.
sweating.
You can put it in post here, but I am a fucking mastodon.
No, it was hot. I was sweating. My stance was
I don't think
spread.
being hot makes you short.
It does. I was
Short
melting.
stack.
It's a
Wash
weight
yourself.
compression thing. The water weight, it sinks you into the ground.
Yeah.
A little.
This
more.
is honestly, Dallas, this is your fault because you
My fault.
Yes,
My fault?
for
Fucking Brazil?
for a
My
decade,
fault, Brazil?
For a decade, you have been brainwashing this audience into thinking that I'm 5'2" when I'm like almost 6 feet tall,
Buddy,
fucking
5'10".
215 pounds of granite.
You were
It's your
215 pounds 3 cycles ago. That's been that's been a hot minute ago.
The amount of, if I had $1 for
And that's
every
unhealthy
time
weight. At
a
5'7",
listener of this show
215, that's
came up to me and
unhealthy.
said, "Oh, you're not actually short. You're not actually short at all. What is Dallas talking about? If I had $1 for, I could retire. I wouldn't have to do the
$2.
show anymore. I would be living on a private island by myself."
306 to 200.
Wow.
Bang.
Wow.
Bang.
It's your
Congrats
fault,
to
Dallas.
RDT and Tyler.
RDT, thank you. Thank you for your great efforts today, for showing up and posting.
The guy who what Brazil get us 2 points?
Some lack of accountability here.
Somebody clipped
Not my
Dallas
fault.
saying, or somebody clipped Jared saying at the beginning, "Now we're really a team." To Dallas, and now clip the infighting that has happened one game into the marriage. Yeah.
No, what you need to
my fault.
clip is him go, "All right, Dallas, now we're a team," and then it immediately goes to Dallas. This is your fault. That's
It is. It is.
Jesus.
Yeah. This is the result of a decade's worth of brainwashing. Is what we just saw right there.
I mean, nobody hit a map from you. That's the problem.
All right, fair. Yeah, but I still got points.
You can rest easy knowing that you could have said Scotland as well, and you guys still would have lost by over 60 points. So.
Whatever. Who cares?
See,
Soccer's
and I mean,
stupid.
The Posey thing, like he's
kicking
in
a ball.
year one. Every other
kicking
GM that was mentioned
Running
has
around.
been in their spot multiple years. And
Yeah,
just
tough.
come on.
Yeah, no, I gave a lot of correct answers that were not, I guess, recognized as correct answers.
See,
which is
I feel like
unfortunate,
you're
but-
starting to
That's how you
appreciate my
started the
feeling
pod off today, I think.
for the discourse. That's what's happening right now. Is you're starting to appreciate what I have
They're a
had
dumb
to deal
group.
with
Yeah.
since the very beginning.
Shout out the
Does-
Discord. Bunch of
Just-
smart fellas.
Love them.
Just
No.
an
And woman.
incredible effort from them. I mean, what other group of people could I drop it at literally any time I want? It doesn't matter what time I drop it. There are people there to gobble it up and answer it because they're the best
Yeah.
listeners in the biz.
Yeah. Yeah, they call that chum
rejects.
in the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of
Yeah,
sharks. over there in the
that's
Discord.
exactly what's happening. Is
Oh,
he knows
shit.
what kind of assholery is going to pop out at 2:30 in the morning. He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's no. It's interesting because I believe it's Kaito, right? Is one of our favorite.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I missed this, so I'm glad you brought it up because I did just pop into the Discord to see if anything new was happening, and he said curious to see if Dallas is ducking the feud again. He can blame the hot weather all he wants. He was scared to leave the booth in Vegas, so at least they'll be happy that that you showed up this time.
Yeah, I have.
You got
I
fucking
had
smacked around, but you were there. You know.
That's too bad.
Fucking joke.
There we go.
There's
RDT.
always next week. We'll see who our guest is next week. But thank you very much to RDT today for being
Thank you, RDT.
the very first one, coming in with a victory, making Dallas and Jared look like a bunch of assholes.
I'd like to. Yeah,
Nothing better.
I want to be traded.
Wow.
The wheel.
I've already requested my release. So.
Competing transaction requests right now.
Yeah.
I appreciate the chance to put on a show, and I think Tyler and I did that. So again, shout out the fine people of Scotland and the discourse as always. So we love.
Oh man, it's unfortunate RDT's Wi-Fi's down, huh?
Earlier it was. You wish it still was. You wish it still was. So. Thank you, boys.
That shit's funny.
Thank you, RDT.
No, not at all. Listen,
yeah, you still have to stay here.
Hey, listen. In life, some people are going to win some days you're going to lose. I think it takes a large man with the pride you guys have and the accountability to just tip your cap and say, damn, Tyler dicked me down today, and RDT.
Yeah.
Oh
you
my
know
God,
a large man,
Tyler. Did you guys just hear that? You got dicked down by Tyler. How do you feel about that?
Did you just see that throw that Jaron Duran attempted to make?
No, I saw the Vlad homer, but I did not see the Durant throw.
It's happening right now. Yeah. He threw an imaginary baseball, basically. Yeah.
Oh, did it slip out of his hand?
Yeah.
Let's not give anyone more ammunition here about the Boston Red Sox. This is supposed to be an enjoyable moment for me.
It's 2-0 in the second, which means the game's over.
One win all year, baby.
They're 1-31 when the opposing team gets a 2-run lead.
Ooh.
Good take.
Game's over. Yeah, 1-31. I mean, it's not impossible, right? You know, they could still come back and win this game, maybe, but probably not. The BID Patreon is up and running. Patreon.com/baseball is dead. New subscribers can purchase the starting 9, which is our package that we offer, only 50% off for the year. Or you can get the starting 9 and catch-up crew, the Section 10 package, for 50% off for the year combined. Existing Section 10 subscribers can get the starting 9 at 50% off, and will get 3 months free of their Section 10 subscription. You're going to get the BID book club. You're going to get video game streams. You're going to get blogs from the fellas, and we're bringing back drafts. I think we're going to do a weekly draft over there, which will be very fun. The drafts go crazy. And then we'll probably put a poll on the Patreon to have you guys decide who won the draft. We'll keep points at the end of the year. And then whoever wins, whoever has the most points in the drafts at the end of the year gets $1 million, or it's Tyler's salary for the year. Whatever comes first.
Or maybe an award.
Maybe an award from Etsy.
Maybe a trophy.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe when we hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, the guy who wins the draft will get the fake YouTube plaque, and then I'll replace it with the real one.
Like that.
The Bruce Meyer interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't we let's do some all right, we'll kick it to the interview. We've waited long enough. The Bruce Meyer interview is I would say the first and probably a long line of labor talk interviews that we're going to be conducting here on Baseball is Dead. So without further ado, it is Bruce Meyer making his BID debut.
All right, we're back here with Ultra Pouches, and listen, have you ever woken up, you got that groggy, that kind of nasty, foggy feeling where you just don't know how you can get your day started or what it's going to take to get you out of bed? A lot of people, including myself, I used to rely on coffee and caffeine. Some people go nicotine, all these different chemicals that you're just throwing in your body to hope, you can get through the day and get what you need done. And some of them cause anxiety or make you feel on edge, makes your heart beat out of your chest. Your sleep score can get worse. I know Jared's sleep score is not always very impressive, but we're trying to avoid those things moving forward. Isn't it funny how we'll do everything in our power to be healthy, go to the gym, eat well, get 8 hours of sleep, but then stay reliant on putting those chemicals in our body just for energy, just to survive on a daily basis? Well, the great thing about Ultra Pouches is they're completely nicotine-free and caffeine-free. And what do they kind of put into these products? Well, they use Infinity PX, L-theanine, Alpha GPC, and vitamin B6 and B12 to help balance your energy and mood. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know it was possible to feel this energized and focused without those other chemicals that I was throwing in my body before. And listen, people see improvements once they start using Ultra pouches. It's calm, steady flow state focus, enhanced memory, smooth energy, mood balance, and once again, all with zero nicotine and zero caffeine. Now, you may be wondering, what kind of flavors do they have going on? They have cool mint, wintergreen, tropical, watermelon, and they now have blue raz. I was a blue lollipop kid growing up. Give me that dum-dum every single time. Well, this blue flavor will speak directly to your heart if you are one of those people. Ultra is the ultimate guilt-free pouch, delivering instant focus and mental clarity without nicotine or caffeine. New customers can use code BID to get 15% off at takeultra.com. That's takeultra.com for 15% off with code BID. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you.
Quick timeout from BID to talk about Shopify. Obviously, if you bought merch from Baseball is Dead on baseballisdead.com, or from Section 10, section10merch.com. That is all powered through the wonders of Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. From household names like Section 10 and Baseball is Dead to brands that are just getting started. And you can get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. You can get the word out like you have your own marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling. And the best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. What if people haven't heard about my brand? Well, Shopify helps you find customers with easy-to-run email and social media campaigns. And if you get stuck, Shopify is always around to share advice with their award-winning 24/7 customer support. Tackle all those important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments and analytics and more. No need to save multiple websites or try to figure out what platform is hosting the tool that you need. Everything is all in one place, making your life easier and your business operations run smoother. Smoother. See less carts go abandoned and more sales go cha-ching with Shopify and their Shop Pay button. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/dead. That is shopify.com/dead. Shopify.com/dead. All right, we are now joined by the interim executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association, Bruce Meyer, who is kind enough to join us here today. Hopefully the first of many conversations that we're going to have as the negotiations have begun, and it is a large audience of baseball fans will be listening to this. And I feel like I just got to start right at the top, just cut to the chase. Everyone's talking lockout 2027. Fans are worried about it. We, quite frankly, are worried about it as a media entity that depends on baseball being played to drive audience and have our audience be entertained. As it stands today during this conversation, it is June 15th, 2026. What's the temperature in the room? Like, how optimistic are we that there will be baseball played in 2027? What is the likelihood that games will be missed? And is there a potential for the entire season to not be played?
First of all, thanks. I'm glad to be on. Those are, of course, the ultimate questions that are on everyone's mind. The answer is we don't know yet, right? We haven't missed a game in baseball since 1994. I mean, that's, over 30 years. Meanwhile, they've missed a lot of games in the other sports. We can come back to that. Sometimes we'll hear, well, if we had a salary cap system, there'd be less fighting and fewer work stoppages. It's actually been the opposite since 94. In terms of where we are now, I mean, look, the parties are very far apart. That's to be expected. I mean, we've had 2 meetings. We've exchanged 1 proposal each. We're at the outset of what figures to be a lengthy process. Last time, as you know, the league locked us out, and we didn't have a deal until March. We did manage to avoid missing games, and so that's the hope. I mean, we as players and as the Players Association, we are never looking to miss games or looking to bring about missing games. And so hopefully we'll have a deal, before that. I wouldn't bet on having a deal before the lockout starts, which would be in December. And I wouldn't bet on having a deal, very, very soon after that. But, I always try to be optimistic. We have professionals on both sides representing their interests. And, we players are fans, and I grew up a fan, and I remember the strike in 1981 and 1994. Nobody likes to go through that, but we have, owners on the other side who are used to getting their way, and they want to make a major change to the system, one that we think is bad not just for players but for fans. And we'll do what our union always has. We'll stick together. We'll promote our players' interests and the interests of the fans as we see it. And we'll try and remain optimistic. But no question, we're very far apart as we sit here, as you said, on June 15th.
Right. The lockout that you referenced, was 21, that one where it was like, you get locked out in December and then you don't miss any games and you come to an agreement in March. As a fan, I'm curious as to COVID happens. It's a 60-game season and there's revenue lost there. So I want to look at this and say, look, there's an example of them locking out in December and then figuring it out before the season started. So there weren't any games missed. So hopefully that happens again. My read on it from the outside is 2020 was an unforeseen disaster of losing games already. And that both sides were like, listen, we don't agree on this, but let's kick the can down the road because we can't afford to lose games again after what happened in 2020. Is that accurate, or is there a world where there's still optimism to get something done before opening day 2027?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's what happened really in 21, 22. I don't think it really had anything to do with having missed games in 2020. The players believed that the system over time had gotten too far out of whack in the owner's direction. We wanted to make net gains in favor of the players. We didn't get everything we wanted. You never really do in bargaining, but we made gains for players at all levels, particularly the younger players, to the point where we thought it was a good deal. The biggest difference, and if you want a reason for pessimism this time, is, of course, the salary cap. I mean, the owners are now putting on the table and insisting on something that they know we've fought against for decades. It doesn't make any sense for them to miss games over that or anything else. As you know, the league is doing incredibly well. We have, really record attendance, record ratings, viewership, interest around the world. We have the young demographic, coming back. We had an incredibly successful season last year, playoffs, World Series, the World Baseball Classic. The league is going to be negotiating national TV rights in 2028. So if there's a reason for optimism, I would say from the league standpoint, it really doesn't make sense for them to shoot themselves in the foot and put fans in that position of having to lose games when things are going so well. Again, having said that, they've come out with, something they know we're against. They know that we've fought over for decades. They know that generations of players have fought against, believing it's not in the interest of either players or the game. That would give one reason for pessimism. But, again, things are going really well. And so for that reason, I would think there's some reason for optimism that cooler heads on the other side will prevail at the end of the day, and they will, again, avoid doing something that will damage the game just because they want this system to protect themselves from competition.
Now, understanding that business owners, franchise owners would love to be able, and I'm talking from Major League Baseball to Kentucky Fried Chicken, everybody would love to be able to operate within fixed terms. They understand what their overhead is. They understand what it's going to cost to put the product on. Therefore, they can really start to project out further and further what the revenue generation is going to look like. Are there other reasons outside of franchise growth and franchise valuation increase that you believe the salary cap floor implementation is so important to ownership groups?
I mean, you kind of put your finger on it. The notion that they want this system because we're just listening to fans or because they have an interest in the fans is absurd. I mean, they have no goal really other than profit, which, again, that's fine. As you say, I mean, that's what businesses are in operation for. But they don't want a cap because of, we're just listening to fans. I mean, if they're just listening to fans, you guys know there are a lot of fans who are chanting that they want the owners to sell the team, right? They're not listening to that part. They're just supposedly listening to the part where they want to limit our labor costs. So these guys, the salary cap is really sort of an ownership protection plan. It's to protect them from having to compete. It's to protect the owners in some markets who really aren't trying to compete for whatever reason from having to face the fan pressure of fans who are demanding excellence and demanding the best. And yes, it's to hold down their labor costs, which increases their profits, and it's to increase their franchise values. I mean, their franchise values have continued to go up enormously, even under the current agreement, but they apparently, they want more. It's not enough for them. So they look at the sports with caps and say, well, their franchise values are growing at a higher level. It's not surprising because they have a system that basically, holds down their labor costs artificially. So, they're going to say what they're going to say. The real reason they want it is not because they're trying to do something good for fans. It's because they want to increase their profits, their franchise values, and have a system that essentially, makes it okay to be mediocre. Again, talking to you guys, I know you're very sensitive to this, but if an owner says, I'm not going to sign that player, or I'm not going to keep Mookie, or I'm not going to do whatever I can, the fans get upset. But if they have a system that essentially is enforced mediocrity, an owner can say, well, it's not me. I'd like to sign that guy, but, the system says I can't. I think that's a big part of why a lot of those owners want it, in addition to it increasing their profits and franchise values.
Now, hold on, Jared, because I had one other thing that I wanted to ask, because you brought up, sir, the fan, and that is who we all are, and that is what I think we all here are concerned about. One, what I believe will be a hot ticket item is television blackouts, accessibility to the fans. And you mentioned that national television rights will be negotiated in 2028. And it feels like there has already been a jockeying for position of sorts to put the onus on players to be the ones who are responsible for lifting the blackout. Almost like, hey, if you can come to the table and we can come to terms and we can meet, eye to collarbone, not necessarily eye to eye, but if we can figure out a way to coexist here, I think blackouts do have the ability to be lifted. I think every baseball fan will have the chance to watch every one of their favorite teams, every one of their favorite players. For me, when I heard that instantly made me feel like, kind of feels like we've had the opportunity to do that, maybe even in the past. Why haven't we gotten there? So what do you make of maybe that onus being put on the players and almost the battle in public court, the court of public opinion, for who is ultimately responsible for creating accessibility of our great game to all of the fans and the people who make this game, this machine go?
It's a very transparent bargaining PR tactic. Players have nothing to do with blackouts. We don't have a seat at the table in any of their TV negotiations. Blackouts ultimately stem from territorial rights that the league grants to teams. Players have nothing to do with that. So I thought it was, kind of comical for them to say, if only the players would agree to an agreement that's bad for them, we could eliminate blackouts. Players are all for, look, players have the same goals as fans. We want the game to be accessible. We want the game to grow. We want the game to be popular. And we want every team to compete for every win, just like players do. Players have no interest in blackouts. again, we don't have a seat at that table. Now, what I saw the league said was, well, if the players agree to a salary cap, that's going to include revenue sharing, and that's going to allow us to lift the blackouts. Even if that makes sense, and I don't think it does, we made proposals a couple of weeks ago that would basically allow them to share, I think it's around 90% of their media revenues. That's in our proposals. So you don't need a salary cap for them to share media revenues. I mean, we made a proposal that would allow them to do that. So look, I thought it was kind of an obvious attempt to take an issue that is rightly one that fans are very concerned about and try and make it look like it's somehow not their fault when it's nobody else's fault, and to tie it to a salary cap, which it really has nothing to do with. So
I have so many questions, but I just know that it's not in your best interest to give an honest answer to all of them. But I have to ask.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, in terms of next season, what's your read on, I guess, the owners' side, their willingness to be if we want a salary cap and we're digging in on this and we are prepared to lose the entire season, is that a situation where you would have to call their bluff on that? Do you think ultimately they would say we're comfortable? Well, obviously they wouldn't be comfortable, but if that's what it takes, then we're prepared to lose the entire season?
Yeah, I can't put myself in their heads completely, and unfortunately, I don't have any source of inside information in terms of what they're thinking. I'll just come back to what I said earlier. It doesn't make any sense. In the NHL, they missed the season. The owners did, to get a salary cap. By the way, that should tell you how good a salary cap is for the owners and how valuable. But in that situation, the NHL wasn't doing that well. The teams weren't, doing as well as these guys in baseball. So I keep coming back to the fact that it doesn't make any sense. Maybe you realize this, but it only takes 8 owners on their side to basically turn down any deal. They need a 3/4 vote. So you could say, well, if there are 8 owners who are dying to get a salary cap, then they could basically push the whole thing off a cliff. Again, I like to think that at some point, look, I think what's really going on here, and what's really always the case in these negotiations, is they want to test players. I mean, they did it in the last lockout. They've done it over and over again through the history of baseball. And I think, every few years, they got to try and do it again. I think they're going to test players. They're going to use all the tactics that management does to scare players, to get players to panic, to try and create cracks in divisions between different groups of players, between players in the union, between agents in the union. That's what they do. And I think what's going to happen is that the players will remain solid, as they always have in baseball. I think at some point the league will see that their proposal is not getting traction. And my hope is that at that point, again, they will realize that it's not in anybody's interest to shut down a season or miss any games. If to go to your question, Jared, I mean, if they really do that, players will be prepared. I mean, we've been talking to players for years about what this negotiation was going to look like, about the likelihood that the league was going to come out with a salary cap proposal, that the league was going to try and test this generation of players in a way that it's tested previous generations of players. We've been talking to players about the financial resources we have at our disposal and what that looks like. And we've been explaining to players, we talk about a cap system, not just that we say it's bad or I say it's bad or Marvin Miller said it was bad or Don Fear or Michael Weiner, but why it is, why that is. And so I think players are very well educated. I think players are unified. I've said this in the past. Anyone who is banking on players in Major League Baseball not being solid is making a grave error and a miscalculation. My hope is that once they see again that the players will remain solid, that at that point we can have a real negotiation in good faith. Keep in mind, I should say, there are things that we want too, right? I mean, fighting off the salary cap is not all we want. We want to continue to move the ball forward, as it were. And maybe that's a football analogy. Maybe I'm mixing my metaphor there. But, I mentioned earlier our proposals. Last time in bargaining, it was actually the youngest players who made the biggest gains for us through the minimum salaries and the pre-arb bonus pool. We still want to get guys paid, earlier in their careers. That's still a major goal. We want to benefit players at every level. Things that we had, big disagreements about last time are still going to be issues: the minimum salaries, pre-arb bonus pool, the luxury tax, and a lot of other things. So, it shouldn't be lost that there are still things that our players want to accomplish affirmatively. None of those things will be easy. Again, sorry for the long-winded answer, but look, I think at the end of the day, our players have what they have, and what they have is the best system in sports. Not perfect by any means, but they have it because previous generations of players all fought for those things, and were willing to miss games if necessary. And so that's why our players enjoy what they have. Our players have an appreciation for that. Our players want to leave things for the next generation of players better than they have it, which is what every previous generation of players left for them. So it's going to be a long road. There's going to be a lot of rhetoric on both sides. At the end of the day, I think that we'll do a deal. At the end, we will have to do a deal. We always do a deal, and we'll do a deal that we think is in the best interest of the players. And hopefully, there are areas where there are win-wins. Sometimes there are, and if there are, we look for them. But nobody's expecting it to be easy. But at the end of the day, I think we'll be in a good place, and I think the sport and the fans will be in a good place.
You talk about making progress, moving the ball forward, and I think what I hear when you say those things are, especially from a player perspective, getting guys compensated and taken care of earlier. That means instead of the controllability that we see now through the 6-year process between arbitration, or between control and then arbitration, condensing that, and the time it takes to get to free agency, potentially condensing that. I know fans, in terms of a competitive balance perspective, have questions and concerns about the ability for teams to defer payments. So I know that there are chess pieces on the board that are potentially movable, not removable, but possibly movable. So I kind of outline all of those things to ask you a question that begs, what are some of the biggest misconceptions, do you think, that fans do have or may have when it comes to how those chess pieces are moved on the table? Because ultimately we are talking about, and the buzzword is competitive balance. And I think fans, I've heard talk about why those things can't be ironed out, because I just want to start the season feeling like I have the same chance as the other teams do in our division or even across the league. I want my team to be able, if I'm a Tigers fan, to feel like I'll be able to meet the Dodgers in the World Series. So what are some of the misconceptions regarding the current status and state of compensation and or contract maneuverability, if you will, that fans might not have a full grasp on?
Hey, great question. I'll give you a few things, if that's okay.
Absolutely. One
is I think maybe a lot of people don't appreciate the extent to which in the current system there's already enormous resources provided for the lower revenue teams, the small market teams. One of the frustrating things is we see a lot of the financials under our CBA because of revenue sharing. We see a lot of the financials. To get access to that, the league has insisted that we agree to keep it confidential. So we can't tell the media, we can't tell you guys, we can't tell fans, we tell players. So very often if a club comes out and says, oh, you know what, we can't compete, we know the information that shows they can compete. Very often those clubs are among the most profitable teams in baseball. We also know how much money goes to those small market teams in the form of revenue sharing, in the form of luxury tax proceeds, in the form of a share of central revenues. Enormous amounts of money in the current system already flow from teams like the Dodgers to the lower revenue teams. Now, again, as we see it, a big problem is we have clubs that aren't choosing to use their resources to make the team better, and that's a huge issue. It's a huge issue for us. It's a huge issue for fans. So I think there's a lot of confusion or misunderstanding about the fact that every team in the league can afford to compete, whether they have the resources of the Dodgers or name another team. There's no team that doesn't have the resources to compete. One of the things that we actually proposed in this round of bargaining, in a proposal we just recently made, is that it should be public. Fans should be aware of how much money a team is collecting every year in revenue sharing. Fans should be aware of how much a team is collecting in luxury tax proceeds. Fans know how much every player makes. Why shouldn't they know how much the owners make? That's something that we propose. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions about the extent to which the lower revenue, smaller market teams have tremendous resources and support to compete under the current system. And we actually proposed increasing that. We proposed increasing revenue sharing. So I mean that's kind of number one, a big one. Another one is the notion of competitive balance. Baseball and competitive balance in baseball is as good or better than any of the other sports. Last year in baseball, as you know, the 30th ranked team in market score, we have a ranking in our CBA, the Milwaukee Brewers, had the best record in baseball. And I could give you lots of other examples, including the Cincinnati Reds beating out the team that I rooted for my whole life, the New York Mets, for the playoffs. So the notion that somehow these teams can't compete or don't have hope, it's just not true. It's just not factually true. Again, you have clubs and owners that for whatever reason aren't trying their hardest to compete, and even then, many of the lower revenue teams, the small market teams, are incredibly successful. The Brewers is a great example. Tampa is a great example. The Guardians, a great example usually. So I think it's a misconception that you need something like a salary cap to have competitive balance. We know that salary caps don't guarantee competitive balance. We could see that in the other sports. So there are a lot of misconceptions surrounding that. And then I would say another one. Well, I'm gonna give you two more. A risk of again going.
Please
on
do.
For a while. I'm going to give you two more. Right. One is the notion, which you hear from the league sometimes. You hear from the commissioner, is that cap, maybe it'll be bad for the stars, but it'd actually be really good for middle class guys or younger guys. The cap is bad for everybody. Cap is bad for every player. And in fact, what you see when you look at the other sports, and I worked for decades for the other unions, either as an outside lawyer or I worked at the NHLPA for 2 years dealing with the cap. The middle class players get crushed more than anybody in a cap system, because in a cap system, every dollar you pay to a player has to come out of another player's pocket. Every dollar in benefits or salary has to come out of another player's pocket. So you could Google this and see players in the other sports, and I've heard directly from them saying that it's actually not the stars who get screwed most, it's the middle class guys, because they sign the stars and then the other guys get whatever's left over. And you see that over and over again in the cap sport. So I think that's a big misconception about how caps work. And then the last one I'll mention, and I'm sure I could go on. If you haven't got the idea yet, I can talk for a while once you get me started.
We appreciate it.
That's what you're here for.
We kind of already alluded to this, but I think there's a misconception sometimes about the union. One of the things the league puts out there, again, it's part of the propaganda. The union just cares about the stars, or they don't care about the rank and file. Our union is the strongest union in sports, always has been, because our guys do care about their fellow players. The fellow players currently, the players who came before, the players who came after. As I said, in the last round of bargaining, it's just a fact. The players who made the biggest gains were the youngest players. And the reason was because the veteran guys, including some of the high-profile veterans at the bargaining table, fought for those guys. Guys who had no interest in, weren't going to benefit from a higher minimum, weren't going to benefit from the pre-arb pool. Some of them really weren't going to benefit from anything. They already have big long-term contracts. They were willing to miss games in the last round of bargaining to get the younger guys paid. So Our union has always been a union where the guys look after each other. So I think, to the extent there's kind of propaganda out there that the union's not looking after those guys, it is what it is, propaganda. And I think that's often a big misconception. So apologize. I'll take a breath now.
No.
Wonderfully outlined.
Yeah. In your opinion, why do you feel like some of the more vocal owners for wanting the salary cap are also owners of teams in bigger markets with deeper pockets? Isn't that odd? Like if you're part of the Dodgers ownership group, you're probably saying like, we don't want a salary cap. We just want to keep spending to the moon because it's working. We keep winning championships. And then you have other big markets where they're like, honestly, we need a salary cap. Like we can't keep up with these big markets. And it's like, are you aware that you're a big market too and you have billions of dollars? Like, why do you think that is?
It's a great point. You have the owner, and at least one of the owners in Chicago, not both of them, at least one of the owners in Chicago has historically been perhaps the leading salary cap advocate. You have the owner in Los Angeles, the other team in Los Angeles, who I think is well known as a huge salary cap advocate. And you got your owner in Boston, who has over the years come out numerous times in favor of a salary cap. In fact, one of the things he said in, I forget what year it was, in the 2000s, and I have this quote, the Yankees are so out of control, nobody can possibly compete with them. There's no way we compete with them without a salary cap. And then he went on to win 4 World Series. So, look, I think at the end of the day, it really comes back to the things we talked about at the beginning. The owners say they want this because, we're just trying to help this team, or they say they want it because they were trying to help the fans. Guess what? They're trying to help themselves, and every team would benefit from having a system of artificial restraints that basically says a player can't get more than X dollars. Every team would benefit from that. They'd make more in profits. They'd make more in franchise values. A lot of times people say to me, well, what's so bad about a salary cap? And, I could talk about the effect on guaranteed contracts. You basically don't have guaranteed contracts in a cap system. I could talk about how it gets worse over time. That's been the history in every one of those sports. But I always start with the name. It's called a salary cap. It's a cap on salaries, player salaries. It's not a cap on, the commissioner's private jet. It's not a cap on owner profits. It's not a cap on how much money they can make around the ballpark. It's not a cap on how much they can sell the team for. It's a salary cap on player salaries. It's literally in the name. But to answer your question, they would all benefit from it, and that's why they want it so bad. That's why the owners in every sport have wanted it so bad. It's I guess maybe another sort of common misconception that I get from people who don't know the history. People will say, well, the other unions have it, so it must not be that bad. They agreed to it. Without going into a whole history lesson, and sadly, I'm getting older. I've been doing this now almost 40 years. I was actually been involved for most of it. None of the other unions ever agreed to a cap system because they thought, you know what, we think this is the best system for players. In one way or the other, they were broken. They were forced into it. And again, not going to go through all the history, but none of these unions ever thought, wow, that's a great system for players. So look, Jared, at the end of the day, all these owners want it because they know they're going to benefit from it. And they certainly don't want it so badly because they're dying to pay players more money. That's not why they want it.
Makes sense to me. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. It's it's a very interesting position that you're in. I'm sure it's as exciting as it is frustrating and maybe nerve-wracking, but having worked in the NHL, who they obviously do have a salary cap, and the NFL, their salary caps abound. But do you feel like because baseball is the last league standing that you have to kind of be the keeper of the sport, and seeing how other salary caps have impacted other professional sports leagues, and Major League Baseball kind of stands alone as the one that doesn't have one? do you feel like this sole responsibility to, ward off the salary cap? Because it's not what the fans want either.
I don't feel any responsibility beyond doing the best job possible for players. I have worked at and with the other unions. I know lots of people at the other unions. They have said, you guys are our heroes. You guys are the last one standing. But having said that, I work for the players, and the players ultimately run the union, and the players ultimately decide what our priorities are in bargaining. My job and the job of our staff is to educate the players, and to the extent I can give them the benefit of my history, obviously I do that. But I'm not thinking of anything other than what's in the best interest of the players. I mentioned one of, and in that sense, again, to that extent, I think we're aligned with fans. One of the things I often say about a salary cap is it tells a team, a GM or a president or an owner who wants to make the team better, say, you know what, we've identified this guy who can make our team better. And a cap system says, you can't do that. You cannot use your best judgment to do what you think will make the team better, to put a better team on the field for the fans. I think players want to see owners and teams compete for every win the way they compete for every win. But at the end of the day, we take we look at the other sports, we break down the effects. I mentioned earlier guarantees. You could look at the other sports, and one way or the other, whether it's through escrow or just not having them, there's no such thing as a fully guaranteed contract in a cap sport. Basketball last year, the players had to give back to the owners $500 million. Every player in the league didn't get 10% of their contract. Minimum guys, middle class guys, because of the salary cap. The league's proposal that they just made would, if it was in place for 2026, would result in the players getting a cut of over $500 million, somewhere between $500 and $750 million. We explain that to the players. Their proposal is to pay you less money, less of a share of revenues than you get now. And by the way, none of your contracts would ever be guaranteed. Oh, and it only gets worse over time. It's not that complicated. Players understand that pretty readily. But look, I don't feel any duty to history or anything like that. My duty is solely to the players, and to the extent I believe, or the other lawyers on our staff, or economists, analysts we have, believe that something is not in the interest of players, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that players don't make that mistake. But at the end of the day, they run the union. So,
bit of a pivot, if you don't mind. What's your early relationship with baseball? Like, I know you have worked in and around lots of other different sports. Are you an attorney and an executive director who happens to work in baseball at this point, or are you a lifelong baseball fan? You sort of hinted at this, but I'd love to hear the story behind it.
I am a lifelong baseball fan. Again, I'm dating myself. I was born in 1961. My earliest sports memory was the '69 Mets. Hard to believe now. I think it was the last game. They rolled a black and white TV set into my, I think it was third grade class, and saw the final out. During the day. My second sports memory, by the way, was the 1970 Knicks, but we're here to talk about baseball. Tom Seaver was my idol. My father used to take me to a Met game on my birthday every year. I rooted for them through the bad years, and then watched almost every game, probably in 1986. So I've always been a gigantic baseball fan. I didn't set out to go into baseball. I started working in a big law firm, and I did lots of things. I was a trial lawyer, but I ended up representing all the unions in the different sports. The ability about 8 years ago to actually go work for the baseball players, and I loved the other sports, and I enjoyed working with them. But the ability to come to baseball, which was not only the gold standard of the unions, but the sport that I was really passionate about growing up, was really tremendous. I'll add that in 1970, I guess. Whenever Hank Aaron was going after the home run record, even though he wasn't on the Mets, I was obsessed with him and the home run chase. I wrote him a letter telling him he was my hero, and he sent me a signed picture, which I have on my desk today and is very special to me. So
that's awesome.
Baseball has always had a special place in my heart.
Love that.
I'll give you quickly my Red Sox connection. So I went to Boston University Law School. When I got to BU in 1983, I didn't know anybody. I had an apartment, which people say I'm exaggerating, but I think it was essentially in the Fenway parking lot. It was on a street called Minor Street. I don't know if it was a little street. It was like right on the edge of the Fenway parking lot. And I had nothing to do, so I would go over and just go to Fenway and see games. Back then, this was still during the curse era. It wasn't hard to get tickets. And I had never been in Fenway, and I absolutely loved it. And, this was Wade Boggs and Roger Clemens. So I'm not going to say I was ever a Red Sox fan, but I had a special softness for the Red Sox. And there's a quick story. I swear this is absolutely true. First time I ever went to Fenway Park, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, the Green Monster, this is amazing. Ted Williams played here. And so again, this is in 1983. And there's a couple of old guys in front of me, clearly been to a lot of Red Sox games. And one guy turns to the other guy and says, Bucky Dent, can you effing believe it? So this was what, 6 years later? So, it's
3 years.
Stuff. True story. But always had a lot of respect for that team and the franchise. 1986, the Bill Buckner game, I have to say, one of the highlights of my life. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
I wasn't born yet, so I can't be like, damn, that sucked. But if they didn't win 4 during my lifetime, yeah, I'd probably look back at that and be like, yeah,
right.
I would have loved to have claimed the 86 World Series if that's the closest that they've gotten since then.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a run over here, and a lot of that, coincidentally, has been because the Red Sox spent the most money. Like 2018, they spent the most money. 2004, they were right up there as a top spender. 07, they spent a ton of money after finishing in third place, and then they end up back in the World Series and winning the thing. So, yeah, there's definitely a correlation between spending money and winning. I feel like that's a tale as old as time, and I hope that a salary cap doesn't enter the equation. So,
there is a correlation between spending and winning, because good players cost money.
Cost money.
Expect that. But I've seen some studies, including recently, in terms of explaining why a successful team is successful. It's actually less than you think. I mean, getting production out of the players early in their careers when they're still in that control period. I mean, the Dodgers do everything well. Scouting well, player development well, international stuff well. It's not just because they signed a couple of good free agents. And yeah, your team, as you know, and I know you pointed out, your team can afford to do more. They can.
I interviewed John Henry at Red Sox Fan Fest 2023, and I'm pretty sure they edited a bunch of stuff out that he said on stage. But one of the things he said was, baseball players are expensive. And that's like, yeah, good ones are. Yep. That typically tends to be the case. Like, I don't know a player that is very, very good that doesn't cost a lot of money. That's typically how it goes. So, Teague, what do you got?
My question would be, there's been a narrative, I think, painted or thrown out there that Scott Boras or other agents may be directing or shaping your guys' approach in these CBA talks. What is your response to that and some of that propaganda that's been thrown around?
Am I allowed to curse on this podcast?
Of course you are.
Absolutely.
It's total fucking bullshit. It's something that the league, I think, originally put out there because again the league and really management. It's true in any of these sports. They're all about trying to create divisions between, again, different kinds of players, between agents in the union. It's absolute nonsense. Scott Boras represents a lot of players. In fact, I don't know if it's still the case. At one time I checked, he represented more players than anyone in the league. I don't know if that's still true. So, but I probably talked to 80 agents in the last 5 weeks. I listen to input and solicit input from every agent. I mean, there's no agent too small to have useful input for us. Agents in general are in the trenches. They're the ones who are going to have to live with whatever we negotiate. I value them tremendously, and have in all the sports that I've worked in. So again, it's a useful tactic to try and divide players, but it's absolute bullshit. Is the short answer.
I love that. Just two more questions, really. I think the last thing I'll ask is, because I do want to give fans some optimism, and just speaking candidly, I would love to have somebody from Major League Baseball on the podcast, because I'm a big fan of transparency. I'm a big fan of hearing things from both sides and both perspectives, because I think that's fair, and I think that's something that the fans deserve. So if there is anything whatsoever, and to whatever extent you might be able to share, is there anything that you do see eye to eye on, or that you can see being common ground that you can find sooner rather than later with Major League Baseball? And it doesn't have to be specific to a cap floor system. It doesn't have to be specific to any item of negotiation, just in general, understanding that the ultimate goal is to be playing baseball and is to continue to grow this great game.
We have a joint interest in maximizing the revenues of the sport, the reach of the sport, interest in sport, popularity of the sport. Again, it's one thing. Sometimes it's a myth. The league says, well, salary cap is a partnership and we can grow the game together. Well, we don't need a salary cap to grow the game. We want to grow the game. The WBC is a perfect example. That was a completely joint event between equal partners, us and the league. You don't need a cap system to work together to grow revenues. There's a way we can help grow the sport. We have been and will continue to do that. So we really do have common ground in terms of anything that can make the sport more popular, get our players out more front and center, make the game more available to fans, even though, as I said, that's not something we control. But if there's anything we can do, we have common interests in that respect. There are things we did in the last agreement, which, I would say were win-wins. Service time manipulation was one of them. We said, hey, you got this problem where, they got great players who the fans should be seeing in the major leagues who are being kept down artificially. That's a problem for the player, but we think it's a problem for the game and for the fans and the sport. And we managed ultimately to come to an agreement on that. It wasn't everything we wanted, but it's actually had really positive effects. There's less of that kind of service time manipulation than there was. So that's an example. Look, we want the game to be competitive. We just have a disagreement about what that means and how to get there. Again, in our view, the game is a great game. It's doing great, but we have clubs that are essentially free riding on whether it's revenue sharing or other resources and not doing everything they can to put the best team on the field for the fans. We made proposals in bargaining this time, really for the first time, maybe ever, if not in a while, that would actually increase the revenue sharing. Our proposals would actually have more money flowing from teams like the Dodgers to teams like the Pirates. Now, we said as a condition of that, we want some things in there that are actually going to require teams to use that money to make a better product, which, again, maybe some of their owners, it's not really what they want. But I do think we have a common interest in not seeing the game shut down. I mean, look, missing games, as I said earlier, if players aren't prepared to do it, then history would tell you you shouldn't expect to make any real gains. I mean, because they don't give us things at the bargaining table because they like me, which they don't. I wouldn't have it any other way, but they don't give us gains because I convinced them it's the right thing to do. They give us gains because they think they have something to lose, right? And typically that's from missing games. But having said that, we have a very strong common interest in doing everything we can to not miss games. Players lose paychecks, owners lose revenues, fans lose out. That's probably the strongest common interest that we have in trying to reach a deal that accomplishes, the objectives that we have, and obviously it's good for the fans. And at the end of the day, I'm a believer in that. So we'll see what happens. We prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
Well, Mr. Meyer, we couldn't thank you enough for the time that you have so graciously granted us. I know fans will truly appreciate this insight, because it's one thing for them to hear my perspective as an ex-player. It's one thing for them to hear Jared and Shohei and Tyler's perspective as fans who love the game as much, if not more, than they do. So we want to end this typically how we end most of our interviews, which is with a fun question. You, to date you, because you did it, sir. We didn't do it. You did it. Born in 1961. You have seen a lot of exciting and monumental moments in our great game of baseball. So what I want you to do is I want you to put yourself in a hot tub time machine, and I want you to go back. Hot tub time machines are the best time machines. So you're in a hot tub time machine, and you are back in any moment in baseball history, and you get to watch this moment unfold. You got a front row seat to it. Which moment in baseball history do you go back to, and why?
Well, I mentioned for the Mets, the Buckner game, the 86 World Series, and the 69 series. Non-Mets, the Kirk Gibson game was unbelievable. Watching that in real time with Eckersley, who was essentially unhittable coming in, and Kirk Gibson, who could barely swing a bat. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Growing up, a guy who idolized Tom Seaver, I was sorry that he didn't get a no-hitter with the Mets, and he got a no-hitter with the Reds, I believe. So I would have liked to have seen that.
He was on the 86 Red Sox.
He was on the Red Sox, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he got his no-hitter with the Reds. I guess out of all the history, it would have been nice to see Babe Ruth's called shot game and see whether he actually called the shot. My wife's
I was there.
late father-in-law grew up in the Bronx, and he used to go see Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and those guys, and so that would be pretty cool. Those are things that come to mind.
Love that. Love it. Babe Ruth, a beloved figure on this podcast here, a heralded figure.
No. I didn't even know that. Kurtz.
Bruce Meyer, interim executive director of the Major League Baseball Players Association. Thank you so much for taking the time. Hopefully this won't be the last time that you pass by. We would love to continue the conversation as the negotiations roll on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy your work. And we'll talk again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir. Big thanks to Bruce Meyer for making the time. That was cool. That was cool to actually have the opportunity to speak to someone who is at the top of the food chain on the player side of things. As I believe I just saw there was like another update here on like the CBA in terms of what they were looking. Oh, the international draft, which would be cool.
Which they did last time they proposed. They tried to throw that out there.
Yeah. But thanks everyone for watching, everyone for listening. How about some juicy, tasty nugs, Justin Havens?
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. Would love to get into some nugs. Here we go. Some lingering stuff on the PCA conversation. If you look at his in-zone swing rate by month, it's just absolutely incredible. And just to put the numbers on it, sort of related to what T was talking about earlier, but he's gone from 88% in August of last season to 47% in June of this season. So it's not a slight change. It's a complete overhaul. Aaron Nola's pitching later today. Of the 101 MLB pitchers who have made at least 6 starts at home this season, the Phillies remarkably have the lowest ERA of that group in Christopher Sanchez, and also 3 of the 8 highest, including Aaron Nola's 6.21. Luzardo's got a 6.6 at home, and the recently demoted Andrew Painter wrapped up with a 7.05 ERA in a remarkably disappointing turn for the Phillies. That he was just incredibly ineffective, one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball. Ryan Weathers talked about how effective he was, maybe a month or so ago on the pod. First 10 starts, 3.14 ERA with a 3.48 FIP. Last 3 starts, 8.47 ERA with a 7.63 FIP. He's on the mound. We'll see if he can get turning around. Brian Wu, a little bit of a similar case here. Recent downturn since the start of June. He had a 3.44 ERA with a 2.9 FIP through the end of May. That was 12 starts. In his 2 June starts, it's a 9.53 ERA and 11 and a third innings pitched. Trey Savage, first 5 starts this season, 1.07 ERA with a sub-2 FIP and 25 and a third. Last 4 starts, 6.85 ERA, 5.51 FIP and 22 and a third. We'll see if he can turn it around. Kyle Bradish last night, 12 strikeouts against the Orioles. Against the Mariners for the Orioles, of course. 12 or more strikeouts in a start on the road for the Orioles since 2000. It's only happened 6 times. John Means, May of 2021. Dylan Bundy in 2018. Eric Bedard twice in 2007, May and July. And Mike Mussina, September 24th of 2000. By the way, as an aside, in kind of our thing of remembering overlooked pitchers of the past, go ahead and remind yourself of Eric Bedard's peak. One of the nastiest pitchers in the game. Very, 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 very rarely healthy, unfortunately. But in those brief moments where he was going, he was pretty goddamn nasty. Cover your ears, Red Sox fans. Andres Jimenez is the first Blue Jays player with 3 or more stolen bases in a game since Whit Merrifield on May 13th of 2023. As a side note, Merrifield actually did that twice in an 8-day span in May of 23, which is wild. And he's the first Blue Jay to rack up 3 or more stolen bases in a game against the Red Sox since Shannon Stewart. The last 5 instances of 3 or more stolen bases in a game against the Red Sox. Andres Jimenez yesterday, obviously. Whit Merrifield, again, a mention in June of 21. Howie Kendrick in 17. Lorenzo Cain in 15. And Jonathan Villar in August of 2013. Corbin Carroll, he's got 95 career homers. So we're getting ahead of this one. But he's 5 homers away from becoming the 128th player in MLB history to have 100 homers, 100 doubles, 50 triples, and 125 stolen bases in his career. However, he will be the second player ever to do so through his age 25 season. And in fact, no other player has done so before age 27. It's just crazy that, I don't know if Corbin Carroll's underrated, but it just feels like, given that Pinson is the only player to have done it other than him through age 25, assuming he gets there, it's just a remarkably limited list for the counting stats that Corbin Carroll is able to rack up. Shohei Ohtani, we've talked about it, but 8 total runs in 12 2/3 over his last 2 starts. He'd allowed 7 total runs in 61 innings pitched through his first 10 starts of the season. Bobby Witt Jr., he's been worth 4.2 wins above replacement this year. All other Royals position players combined have been worth 3.4 wins above replacement. Sandy Alcantara, another solid start yesterday. He's got a 2.89 ERA in June after a 7.39 ERA in May. FIP is also about a run and 3/4 better, for those who are curious. And lastly, probably a longer conversation at some point, or maybe just a conversation for my own head. But again, I just don't feel like, I know people know that Kevin McGonigal is awesome and having an awesome season, but the idea that he is, regardless of which version of wins above replacement you use, he's been one of the 5 best players in the American League at worst this season in his very first year is just fucking remarkable. And I know it's sort of like you were talking about PCA's season being wasted. It almost feels right now like McGonigal's amazing debut season is being wasted on our incredibly disappointing Tigers team. But just for context, from 1990 to 2025, there were only 7 AL batters aged 21 or younger to produce 4.2 WAR or better in that age 21 season or younger. Those players are Griffey, A-Rod, Trout, Machado, Correa, Julio Rodriguez, and Junior Caminero. McGonigal has produced 4.2 wins above replacement in 71 games in 2026, and that he's already on a list that is that limited, to me, is pretty remarkable. And some lingering Ohtani stuff, and then this will be it. We talked about the sweeper. He's allowed extra base hits off his 4-seamer in 3 straight games. He had allowed 4 extra base hits off his 4-seamer through his first 9 starts combined. And he last registered a swing and miss with his splitter on May 20th.
And those are the Nugs.
May 20th?
May 20th. Now, he hasn't thrown 100 splitters since then, but he has gone, I believe it's 4 straight starts without registering one single whiff with the pitch.
Wow.
Dallas, any final thoughts?
Nope.
T, I know you probably have 19.
15 seconds, 20 seconds. I don't know. Spencer Nosbaum, who is a writer down in Washington, does a lot of coverage over there. Just a very interesting conversation he had with Foul Territory today, talking about when people were kind of going after the Nationals for hiring 3 different hitting coaches this year that all were, you had an old school guy, you had a driveline guy, someone who could connect on both sides, talking about what has worked for Washington this year and that being kind of at the front of the things or front of the conversation about why they're clicking as much as they are. I think that's very important to keep in your mind when Taboni would have been the GM here in Boston this year under Breslow if he didn't get hired away. And just with how they've handled the coaching staff and the hitting structure this year, because it feels like a lot of the things being described in Washington as working are things Breslow is going away from here. That is all.
Thank you. Yeah, I did see that there was that Jeremy Booth thread. It was very
that was
interesting.
Today. Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah. Something to keep an eye on. Anyways, baseballisdead.com for your Baseball is Dead merch and patreon.com/baseballisdead for the bonus content. We appreciate everyone supporting the show. It means a lot to us. A lot of interviews that have been coming out. Check those out on our YouTube page. Please subscribe so that I can get the real trophy and then I can give the fake one to Dallas. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that's a big goal for us. So we're very excited to get there. We're only like 97,000 to go, so we're closing in on it. And once we get there, man, it's gonna be a big party. Okay, we'll see you guys. Enjoy the weekend of baseball. We'll see you guys on Monday, or I won't. I'll see you guys on a week from today, Thursday. But these guys will take it from here. See you then.
Running away after a Family Feud loss.
Vote Kurtz.